All right. Are we live? It says that we are alive. How is the communication? Is the audio coming through beautifully? Just quickly checking. Say, hope everyone is well. Ooh, there we go. Audio is coming through very nice and crisply. Okay. Hey, good evening, Hannah. Hope you're doing well. Say, tonight. Tonight is the night that the Titans shall be unleashed. For those of you who don't know what's going on, tonight all seven planets, or officially recognized planets. I still count Pluto as a planet, but then again, I'm a rebel. All 7 of our planets in the solar system, other than Earth, will be beautifully aligned in the night sky, which means the Titans will be unleashed. Make sure you guys are ready to say hello to Hercules when he arrives. Yeah. So, good evening, everyone. Say this is the last day of the month of Valentine's. Last day of February, so it means we're going to be talking some romance tonight. We are going to be looking at the trope enemies to lovers. We're going to go into detail about that, and then we'll end off the night with playing some of Deltarune and going yet again through the Krusie run. So it seems as if there's only a handful of us here, but hey, that's all a-okay. I'll wait just a little bit longer to see who else pops on in before we just dive on into the lesson proper. So, let's see here. What are then some fun things to chat about? Oh, I got a sneeze coming. If I suddenly sneeze, I do apologize. So, some things to talk about as we wait for more people to drop in for the evening. I am not holding myself to this because I've not yet actually made plans to do this, but I have been thinking about kind of doing a mini series, maybe not even really necessarily a mini series, but kind of like a long running little side series of videos talking about just good kids books that should be read a little bit more, that should go out there more, that parents who are looking for good literature, that this is something that they might want to look on into, because kids need to read more books. I want to see that literacy. I want to see those literacy numbers go up. We're playing with rookie numbers. We're playing with Gilded Age numbers. No, I want to see that literacy improve, advance. I want kids to be able to speak with more than a 300-word working vocabulary. It's quite unusual to see you just play games rather than giving us tips on how to improve your story. Well, we do what we do. Say, Camille's harem is versatile. I mean, we've talked about video games, anime, manga, comics, movies, books, writing tips all throughout and the likes. Which, for people who are like, well, Lars hasn't done a good solid lesson in a little while, well, tonight we are going to rectify that with a lesson on enemies to lovers, because this is a trope that a lot of people find tons of fun to read and to write, and it is a trope that has caused so many problems. Hey, Arts, great to have you here. Woo! But yeah, so we're going to dive into the intricacies of the of of enemies to lovers, which, yes, I'll definitely be talking about Chris and Susie as a great example, but there's also not so good examples that we need to talk about. Other examples that people are just like, give it to me, I need it. And sorry, the creators just didn't give it to you, and we got to understand why that is. Because there's a lot of misunderstandings wrapped up in enemies to lovers, and also a lot of toxicity that we need to deal with as well. Your thought on Genshin's storyline? I've never played Genshin Impact, so I have no idea. I know nothing about the story. In fact, I thought that it was actually something along the lines of a Final Fantasy game. I guess apparently it's more of a waifu collecting game. I don't even know. So, unfortunately, I cannot give a valid opinion or insight on Genshin. So, yep. Which is one of the ways that you know that at least we know something of what we're talking about, because we here at Camille's Harem, if we don't know something, we're going to say it, because it gets really embarrassing to try to say something you're all like, yes, I know this so well, and then to be proven very wrong almost immediately. What I had that happen to me once, where I made a claim that I should have done my research into it about Thanos versus Darkseid. Yeah, the people came out of the woodworks for that one. So I want to avoid that again. All right, let's see here. Wait just a little bit longer, see who else pops in before we dive on into our lesson. Say, for those of you who feel like writing has just been really difficult for you recently, don't worry. I am in that same category as of this moment. So I've been working on a fairy tale retelling for The Cudgel in the Sack. I just have been moving way too slowly. And it's killing me inside. Lars saying Genshin is a collect waifu game is something I cannot unhear anymore. Again, as far as I know, again, I've never played the game. I could be absolutely wrong. But whenever I look up anything Genshin Impact wise, people are all like, so this is the newest waifu. I'm like, okay. What's the game about? Waifus. All right. I could be entirely wrong. It's the same thing about like way back in the day when people are telling me, Lars, you really need to play Undertale. I'm like, okay, so what's Undertale about? It's about getting this lesbian dinosaur together with this lesbian fish. And I'm like, that doesn't sound very appealing to me. If you want to play that, sure, go on ahead and play it. But is that what the game's about? Oh, yes, it is. I'm like, okay, then it's not for me. And then later on, find out other things like, ooh, there's skeletons in Undertale. I'm like, okay, so what do the skeletons do in Undertale? They help the lesbians get together. And I'm like, okay, well, great for this game. And again, not until way later when MatPat did a video on Deltarune. And I was like, this looks really cool. This game seems really interesting. Oh, it's connected to Undertale. I kind of want to play Deltarune, but if I have to play Undertale first in order to understand it, I guess I got to play Undertale. And everything that anyone had ever told me about Undertale was false. I mean, other than, yes, you can get Undyne and Alphys together in a relationship, and that's all fun and everything, but the game is about way more than just that. So, if I really want to know something about Genshin Impact, I'm going to have to play Genshin Impact myself. TV account, you really haven't missed anything. Chris throwing Susie. Wait, correction. Susie throwing Chris. The best attack. Art says it's a pivotal part of the game, but it's not the whole game. LOL. Yeah. I mean, it is all part of the best ending to the game that you can get, which you've got to put in the effort and everything. And I enjoy putting in all of that, putting in all that effort to discover all these things about these different characters, help them out along their personal journeys. Because when it comes to the end of the game, it has such an emotional payoff, which is rather silly when you stop to think about it, because you as the character, you as the player, aren't actually putting in like much input. You don't get to say like any sort of big thing that changes these characters' lives, at least that you can see. The characters are reacting to your very basic choices. But because your choices do matter and have reverberating effects throughout the game, that when you get to the end, when you finally get to the true pacifist ending, it feels so earned, and you feel like you've been a part of all of these characters' lives. And if you've been trying to spare them, you've been putting in a lot of effort to do so. So you're highly invested, making sure that this all works out. Art says, when I got the neutral ending with Flowey forcing my game off, I was scared to open the game back up. I got mad. When that happened. I was like, what? What that's happened with this freaking game? And then when I found out that was all part of the mechanic of the game, I'm like, oh, Oh, this is something else. Ham says they keep secrets. LOL, yes. Okay. Let me quickly close the door to my office space because my big cat Honey used her head against a battering ram and battered down the door. I kid you not. Ugh. That's what Honey does. If she wants to get in, it doesn't matter if this door is closed. Say she just puts her girth against it and then it just pops on open. I had another cat who learned how to open up doors by batting the handles and then learning to hang on. And so he would just use his weight by hanging on the door handles to pop doors open. Very smart cat. All right. So we've been going now for a little over 10 minutes. Let's dive into the lesson. Enemies to lovers. Oh my. Our goals for tonight are these. We want to understand the trope of enemies to lovers. We want to look at examples of both good and bad implementations of this trope and figure out how it could be applied in our own stories, should we wish to use it. Tropes, remember, tropes are just elements within a story that help to move the story along. And you have to figure out as a storyteller what kinds of tropes will work best for your story. If a trope doesn't work with your story, it's not worth putting it in. So you don't have to worry about it. But if it's a trope that you feel will help your story out, you need to make sure, much like putting together the cogs of a clock, you need to figure out how it will best mesh with everything else in order for the story to work. Are you playing Undertale while giving us a lesson? Nope, I just had footage. But I will be playing Deltarune later. All right, so what is enemies to lovers? It is very clearly what it says. Two characters who were enemies become lovers by the end of the story. Now, it is very important to stress this, that when we say enemies, we do mean enemies. And I'm going to get more into that in a little bit here. But remember this, it must be about enemies actually becoming lovers. Loads of romances begin with people getting off on the wrong foot or having misunderstandings, but that doesn't make them enemies, as we're going to see. Just because you have a misunderstanding, or you're going to say that you absolutely hate someone, if you do, that says something about you, and you might want to dial that back a little bit. Misunderstandings happen all the time. Getting off on the wrong foot happens all the time. Having a bad first impression happens all the time. Does not make people enemies. What makes people... I'll give a good example. Story time with Lars. When I was at the University of Arizona, one of the last classes I took before I graduated was German business. It was a class where we learned how to conduct business completely in German. It was an intense class. It was one of the hardest classes that I ever took. It was also one of the most fun and rewarding because I was so totally out of my wheelhouse. And kind of a funny thing about German business is this. They use an archaic way of speaking with each other in a business setting. The way that they speak is kind of the way that the Bible reads. So you are not just speaking German, you're speaking an antiquated form of German, at least when you have to speak with people who are higher than you on the totem pole. So a completely different scenario to so much of what Americans are used to, where basically you are addressing your boss as my lord, and they are addressing you as my knights. Not literally in those terms, but that is basically the relationship. So, any case, fun class. When I got to the class, I think I was the only senior in that class. The rest were sophomores and juniors. And that's fine. But there was one guy who, like, this guy seems like he walked off of the pages of a bad manga. And I'm not kidding when I say, like, this guy, like, very, very handsomely dressed, perfectly coiffed hair, with his arms around multiple girls in the class who most of the time those girls kind of seemed like a little like, who is this guy? Why is he touching us? I have a boyfriend. But this guy's like, yes, I am clearly the most handsome, most cool, most attractive, most capable German speaker in this class, other than the professor, of course. The guy did actually speak pretty good German, but you have a guy who lived in Germany and Austria for almost 2 years and who has just come off hot the press from doing his German capstone project, reading early modern poetry from Germany, and also taking advanced German grammar. So I'm like steroided up on German, and this guy immediately felt threatened because the senior dares to speak more German than me. So bad first meeting, whatever. And he tried to impress on a lot of the other kids in the class, a lot of the other students, that I was not a great guy, whatever. So there were a lot of people who were antagonistic towards me at one point in the class. But after a semester, this is college. Most people don't have time to waste. Most people don't have time to waste on petty rivalries and stupidity, as we're becoming adults. And so by the end of the class, like almost everyone was totally cool with me, no matter like how the class started. So in that case, we weren't enemies. That one guy, however, throughout the entire semester, he kept taking like little weird pot shots at me. And I'm like, dude, are you like 15 years old? Stop making yourself look silly. In that case, he was my enemy. Did we become lovers? Absolutely not. But if we did, it would have been an example of enemies to lovers. If I had ended up in a relationship with anyone else in that class, it would not have been an enemies to lovers situation. So they must be your enemies in order for this trope to actually work. So only if they actively work against each other for one reason or another are they truly enemies. That's something that we need to understand, because there's a lot of stories that get classified as enemies to lovers, but when we stop to actually think about it, you might be like, oh, wait. That actually, they aren't quite enemies. Hannah says, LOL. Yes, that's indeed an LOL story. Honestly, I think incorporating enemies, rivals has something in common and a deep backstory behind their action, and would help the characters feel more connected, and in the end, it would help amplify and allow the readers to feel the couples seem more natural. That can be the case. You just need to make sure that you put in the effort to develop these characters and their relationship, as we will see. Iso says, I am here now. Woohoo! Iso's here. And I also have an enemies to lovers. They distrust each other for a long time due to their separate loyalties and negative interactions with each other. Oh, most excellent. TV account. Sorry, my phone good shot got shot on me. What did I miss? Please tell me, what did I miss? TV account, you missed me telling probably a too long-winded story about my time in a German business class, and how one guy really didn't like me and was my enemy throughout the semester. While everyone else at first was like, who is this guy? Ended up becoming really amicable with everyone else in the class. So in terms of enemies to lovers, the only one who I could have become an enemy to lover with would have been my rival, the guy who, with his perfectly coiffed hair, felt threatened that there was a guy who spoke more German than him. Art says, enemies to lovers can be great. It allows us to look deeper into two characters at odds with one another. Yes. Enemies to lovers, when used correctly as a trope, works fantastically. When it's not used well, oh boy, does it become awkward. So let us continue. Now, how does this trope work? So This right here is basically my very dumbed down formula for understanding the trope. And again, as we've learned with formulas or with writing, you can take most formulas and you can kind of chuck them out the window. However, I am going to stress that point number 2, you cannot sidestep. If you do, you are making a dumb, toxic relationship. So, that being said, ISO and Uzi from Murder Drones is a good example. ISO, hang on to that. Because I'm going to want to hear more from you on that later. So hold on to that thought. That's a good thought. So first of all, you must firmly establish why these two characters are enemies. Then you must show how that relationship operates. That relationship where they are enemies. The only person I'm in a relationship with is my enemy. Secondly, their differences cannot, I repeat, they cannot be irreconcilable, meaning that there's no way of bridging that divide and somehow making these two people at least be allies, maybe friends, possibly lovers. Meaning that there must exist a plausible reason and scenario where these two characters could overcome their differences. And understand this, just because a potential exists does not mean that that potential is love. Love is developed. The potential does not equal love. And this is something that took me a little while to understand. I'll quickly give an example, and this is one that definitely runs up along that line of like, oh boy, would this just be too toxic if you were to make this happen? In the No Darkest Daydreams, you've not yet missed the Krusie playthrough. We're doing the lesson first, then the Krusie playthrough. A good example of understanding this, of understanding like where a relationship, this antagonistic relationship, can become irreconcilable, is when looking at the anime Akame ga Kill. Akame ga Kill, I wanted to really like it, and after a while I'm just like, what the heck is this? Oh, what the heck is this? It definitely in those lines of like, of a story that's trying to shock and awe you with how unnecessarily brutal and wicked it is. But in any case, I really liked the idea of Tatsumi, the main character, getting together with Esdeath, one of the main villains, because she falls head over heels for him. And it's funny that she falls head over heels for him because because everything that she finds attractive goes against her list of what she wants in a romantic partner, other than strength. And I like that. I like the idea of even a villainous character realizing I can fall in love with someone else, even if they don't match what I find to be really hot. And that happens all the time in real life. It actually made the potential relationship pretty cute and alluring, in my opinion. Esdeath effectively kidnaps Tatsumi, which is bad. Don't kidnap the people that you like, and tries to make him fall in love with her. And there is a moment within the story where there's this turning point where you realize that a romance could blossom if the right steps were taken. The irreconcilable problem between Esdeath and Tatsumi is that Esdeath is a straight-up sadistic psychopath. I'm sorry, but as much as I like the idea of these two getting together, that's kind of a big red flag, and that would not fly at all. I even tried writing a fan fiction about how these two might get together, and in the end, it didn't go anywhere because it's really hard to justify those two characters getting together. Would it have been awesome? Yes, but the problem that could not be bridged, was that she was just too much of a monster. And that's something that I wish that the story had explored even more, because I think that could have been really cool. It would have delivered a really bittersweet ending, which the anime actually did. The anime delivered the bittersweet ending that Tatsumi and Esdeath actually deserved. The manga, no. Manga is just so bad. So, other irreconcilable problems. Let's say that Mr. Dark, brooding, handsome, romantic interest, the guy that the girl just cannot stand, murdered her parents. I don't want her to get together with the guy that murdered her parents. No, that's not okay. I don't want someone to get together with fantasy Stalin meets Hitler. Like, I don't want that. I don't want romance there, because that is an irreconcilable problem. You'd have to, first of all, you'd have to do so much work to redeem the monster before you could even begin to start bridging the gap between the enemies. Like, it's just so much work. It's so insane. And there are writers who think that they can just easily hop over that chasm like it's nothing. And this is where it can just so easily become toxic. And I've got a slide on that. Don't you worry. So, third step. So, first step is you must explain why they're enemies, and you must show how they are enemies. Secondly, you cannot have a problem that cannot be bridged without, like, if you try doing it, that it just makes everything so awkward and toxic and just awful. It must be a problem that is not irreconcilable. Good word right there. Third step to enemies to lovers, you must execute the reasonable scenario that forces the two characters to reevaluate their feelings and their relationship. Fourth, you build a new relationship for these characters, either as allies or as friends or as awkward crushes. But it is not romance yet, because fifth and finally, you sculpt them now as an actual couple. So this means enemies to lovers means you have a lot of work to do, because you have to bridge the gap between them. You have to now get them into a plausible situation where they can become something other than enemies. And then from there, you start building a romance. You've given yourself multiple extra steps to write a romance story. That is what enemies to lovers means. TV Count says, I remember someone saying that this trope itself is toxic, and then they use Newsy as an example. Well, there are definitely a lot of people who don't like this trope, TV Account, and it's because it's so often written so poorly, or it's way too often misunderstood. As a result, most enemies to lovers storylines and relationships come across as just really, really bad. So that's why a lot of people don't like this trope. But it's a trope that, if used properly, if understood properly, can lead to some really good stories, as I'm going to show. I think enemies who actually are someone who misunderstands and doesn't show their true self on the surface have a far more likelihood of a relationship than those who are sadistic and manipulative. And for some reason, this made me think of Kirito and Alice. I actually, unfortunately, can't speak too much to Kirito and Alice's relationship, because I stopped watching Sword Art Online halfway through Alicization, however you pronounce it. My reason being is because his friend, who was introduced as kind of his co-equal in the show, got killed. And basically, and then it was all just to put Kirito into a false sense of, I'm depressed. So that way, then he could have this cool moment where he comes on out and is totally the cool guy once again, who can beat everyone because I can dual wield. Because no one else can dual wield, apparently. Oh, Sword Art Online has so many problems. But anyway, I can't speak too much to Kirito and Alice's relationship. I just know that Alice develops some feelings for Kirito, but of course, Kirito has only got eyes for Asuna as he continues to grow his platonic harem on the side. Um, Dorcas Daydreams asks, have you seen Sora Online abridged by something witty entertainment? It's way better than the original. I have only seen clips, Dorcas Daydreams. I should watch it all because I have honestly enjoyed Little Karibo's Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, which is hilarious. Say sometimes the abridged shows are way better than the original. So I'll have to check it out. Okay, so coming back around to what TV account said about people considering this trope as toxic. This is where it becomes toxic. Too many writers see the negative energy between enemies and interpret that as, oh my, they're just so fantastically horny for each other. If we just put them into a room together where they couldn't kill each other, all that negative energy would manifest itself as just love. They would stare at each other. They would lock their lips, and then they'd let their bodies do the rest of the talking that they so want to do. Yes, that is how most people treat that's how most people treat enemies to lovers. No, 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 no. If you put two enemies together into a room and then Randy mattress mumbo stuff starts happening, what you've written smut. You've not written a romance. You haven't. So if you write this way, you have botched enemies to lovers. Your writing is the reason why so many people see this trope as toxic. And again, this trope does lend itself kind of to that because, again, we have to think about how do you get these two people who are enemies to actually like each other and get together. Ugh. So please, please, do not consider this trope as just simply smashing people into a room so they can smash. Because that is not the trope. Now then, I brought this up earlier. I'm going to bring it up again. An important reminder, potential doesn't guarantee success. Potential in a relationship does not mean it will work out. And a really good example of this, and people can fight me on this. Feel free to fight me on this if you wish. This is the reason why Katara and Zuko end up not working out. Yes, I actually would love to have seen Zuko get together with Katara. Personally, even more so, I would like to have seen Zuko get together with Jin, the girl from the Earth Kingdom. I think that that's just a sweet, amazing little romantic side story, and I will die on that hill. And I'll be very honest. Contrary to a lot of people who like Zuko together with Mai, I don't think that relationship works out really well. And part of the reason for it is because it's a relationship that is underdeveloped. As opposed to Zuko and Katara. I like Zuko and Jin, but let's just be honest, it's a short story from the Tales of Ba Sing Se. It is wonderfully written, but it's just a little short story, and though it pains my heart, I have to put it away for right now. Let's talk about Zuko and Katara. Zuko and Katara have a better defined relationship than Zuko has with his main love interest, Mai. 100%. And this is in part because, and this is part of the reason for the allure behind Enemies to Lovers, is that we get to see that relationship between Zuko and Katara truly evolve throughout the runtime of the show. They are enemies from the very first episode. The Fire Nation has attacked, and the Fire Nation comes to the Southern Water Tribe to find the Avatar, to get Aang, attacks the villagers. These are the same people who took Katara's mom, as we learn later on, led to her death. Katara has every reason to hate the Fire Nation. But we actually see a lot of tolerance, a lot of patience on Katara's part. She is a little bit older. She acts older than she should, than her age says that she should. And that's because she's a girl who's grown up in war. Now then, there's a lot of potential for her to reconcile with Zuko, but when we then get to the end of season 2, where Zuko helps Azula bring down the Earth Kingdom from within, That is the moment where Katara's like, you're like, no, you had a chance to do something right. There's some good in you, and you crushed it by joining up with your psycho sister to go against Aang. And you represent the absolute worst of the Fire Nation. I have no reason to like you. We have 2.5 seasons to prove this until Zuko arrives, and Zuko's like, I must help the Avatar. And Zuko's redemption arc is one of the best redemption arcs ever written, and it's amazing. And Katara is the last one to come around because of everything that she's had to go through in this war against the Firebenders, learning about her mother, and having to face this jerk who's just chased her, destroyed her home ever since the beginning. Ugh. And the fact that Zuko and Katara are able then to become allies. They become allies. They don't become friends at first. They go from enemies to allies, and then they become friends after that. Close enough friends that Zuko is willing to have Katara watch his back when he goes to fight against Azula. And that shows amazing trust on the part of both Katara and Zuko. And so when people watched this and they saw how these two went from enemies to allies to legitimate friends, there's a really good reason why people would have wanted Katara to get together with Zuko, because the chemistry was there. And to be honest, a lot of the chemistry that the writers would have wanted between her and Aang wasn't there, because most of the relationship between Aang and Katara was written as a one-sided crush throughout most of Avatar. And so this is one of the few places within the overall series where I can say, yeah, the writers didn't do this so hot. Avatar: The Last Airbender is as close as to perfect as you can get, aside from Lord of the Rings. And you can still always find something that was not written quite as well as it should have been. The relationship between Katara and Aang is one of those. And because of that, as a result, the relationship between Katara and Zuko had everything necessary to be a true enemies to lovers situation. And it just didn't pan out. Didn't pan out because that's not what the showrunners wanted. And so that's it. That's important to understand. And because the showrunners also did not want, didn't want to have Zuko get together with Katara, that's the reason why their relationship, which is so close to enemies to lovers, just never culminates. It never gets there, because the writers knew who they wanted to have end up in which relationship. And that's where they put those characters. And for the most part, they guided them fairly well there. And so, yeah. Dorcas says, I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I think Zuko and Mai could have been better with more development. That is not a hot take, Dorcas Daydreams. I 100% agree with you. The reason why I'm not sold on Zuko and Mai is because I don't get enough of their relationship. Sure, two angsty, depressed teenagers getting together and who had a little cute relationship when they were kids. Yeah, that's cute. But cute doesn't make a good romance. It takes development. It takes development of those two characters and between those two characters. Zuko had more development between him and Jin and him and Katara than anything that was given between him and Mai. And that's just the truth of the matter. So I don't consider that a hot take, Dorcas Daydreams. I consider that fact. I consider that objective fact. All right. So that's my little soapbox right there. But again, that's meant to be as a reminder. Potential for a relationship does not guarantee success. You must follow through. Zuko and Katara had all the makings of enemies to lovers, but the last step, which is actually sculpting their relationship into that of a romantic one, did not happen. They went from enemies to good friends. And there's nothing wrong with a good friendship, not at all. If that's what the writers were intent on doing, they succeeded, and they succeeded with flying colors and high numbers. Absolutely, 10 out of 10. If they wanted romance, they tripped at the finish line. Now they take a quick drink of water. There we go. Okay. Now then, coming back to my little story, my long-winded story at the beginning about being in the German business class. Brief antagonists do not count as villains. It's very easy to classify brief spats of antagonism as making people, quote-unquote, enemies. However, when you look a little bit closer, you have to ask if they ever really were real enemies. And usually, the answer is no. And that helps to explain why they get over their differences so quickly. Because again, enemies to lovers, there has to be a very good reason why these people do not like each other, why they are legit enemies. And that's why you then have to build a really good reason and scenario for them to come together and rethink that relationship and reevaluate in order to come together to either then become allies, friends, or awkward crushes. And two good examples of this come from 10 Things I Hate About You and The Dragon Prince. In 10 Things I Hate About You, yeah, sure, the girl is kind of against men, not because she hates them, because she's an enemy against all men, which is what's presented in the story, but rather because she thinks that most high school boys, and she's correct in this, most high school boys are inconsiderate, stupid, and are only out to get some. Which is why then Heath Ledger's character has to pull so much weight to try to show off that he's a good guy. And the thing is this, is that the moment that she realizes, okay, he's a good guy, then that whole conflict is resolved, and the two of them are hanging out and are getting close to dating. It's very, very close to the idea of enemies to lovers, but the reason why they're not truly enemies is because, again, she never hated boys. She just didn't like that teenage boys are stupid, which is, again, very, very valid. And he, for his part, he never hated her. He's being paid to take a girl out so that way his younger sister can then date other boys. So that way the guy who's paying him can then ask her out to the prom. Yes, very convoluted if you haven't actually watched 10 Things I Hate About You, which is an excellent movie. Really, really good movie, and I highly recommend it. But when you stop to think about it, the two just aren't actually enemies. They don't like each other at first for various reasons, but they really quickly overcome that. And most of the movie then is them trying to explore what it would be like if they got into a relationship. And so you have like kind of this uneasy friendship that grows and grows and grows through their experiences until it becomes romantic. And that's more of just a good solid romance than enemies to lovers. Then looking at The Dragon Prince, Callum and Rayla are on two different sides of a global conflict. Their people don't like each other. Their people are enemies of each other, humans versus elves. That relationship, that relationship of enemies, very, very quickly falls away between Callum and Rayla because they don't actually have a reason to hate each other. The moment that they realize that there's a dragon egg involved and that the dragon needs to be brought to its mother, which is on the other side of the continent of Zadia, then they're like, okay, well, this is what we got to do. It's the right thing to do. And even though Callum and Rayla don't immediately get along, like they very quickly develop an alliance, which then turns into a friendship within just a handful of episodes. They should be enemies. They should be, because everyone else around them are enemies. But for Callum and Rayla, they have a common goal almost right off the bat that allows them to set aside ancestral differences to become allies and then become friends. In a way, it follows their relationship because they become romantically involved. They get together. Even though their relationship follows my outline for what you need in an enemies to lovers relationship, the thing is that the enemies aspect of their relationship is seen more through the actions of other characters rather than through them, which is very similar to a Romeo and Juliet kind of story, which when we look at Romeo and Juliet cannot fit enemies to lovers because they were never enemies to begin with. Their parents were, their families were, which creates the conflicts, which is really neat. Like the idea of two families that hate each other, warring against each other, or two nations warring against each other is a great premise for a story where then it's like, oh, romance blossoms in the most unlikely of places. And that's really, really well done, but that does not guarantee an enemies to lovers story if you do not make, for instance, Callum and Rayla hate each other, truly hate each other, until the incident with the egg forces them to work together, and then they very begrudgingly get to know the other, and then they become allies, and then friends, and then lovers. Again, because of the ease with which the two of them become friends, you have to ask, were these two ever enemies to begin with? And if the answer is no, then they can't be enemies to lovers. So that's something that's just something to bear in mind when utilizing this trope. If the two were never fully enemies to begin with, it's not enemies to lovers. It's a misunderstanding, a messy misunderstanding, but it happens all the time. So let's take a look at some examples, some good examples of enemies to lovers. Let me quickly take a drink. All right, let's start off with the most iconic of which we have Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy. Yes. Oh my. Okay then. Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy are absolutely enemies. Yes, it is very nice, Art of Chris and Susie Arts. So the thing that makes them enemies, and this is the beauty of Pride and Prejudice, of how they are both absolutely just they at first they're just not compatible, despite the fact that they're very compatible with each other. And that's because Mr. Darcy has been burned by people of a lower status throughout his life. Where we have oh crap, why am I suddenly forgetting his name? Not Mr. Bingley. Mr. Bingley's his friend. Oh, chat, help me out right here. Who's the scumbag soldier who runs off with Kitty at the end? Oh, why am I blanking on his name? This is horrible. Begins with a W. Wilkins, Witters, Witherspoon, whatever. Mr. Darcy has been burned in the past by gold diggers and people of a lower status. And so he holds himself above the masses, above all those filthy peasants and lower nobles. Get away! And when Elizabeth's sister takes a big liking to Mr. Bingley, Mr. Darcy's best friend, Mr. Darcy, of course, is like, no. She comes from a gold-digging background. She's of lower birth than you. This ain't okay. Believe you me. I know how this will end. It's going to end in tears. And as far as Elizabeth is concerned, Elizabeth thinks that Elizabeth does not like the constraints of her society, of how people treat women. And of course, she doesn't like how other people look down on her family. Yes, her family is crazy thanks to her mother. Her mother is the source of the crazy. Her father should definitely rein that in. But that doesn't mean that they're bad people. Even her mom's embarrassing, but her mom's not bad. And so being judged by everyone else and being in a position that where she's expected to be married off to a guy that she will never fall in love with, yada yada yada. Of course, she's not going to be very happy to meet Mr. Judgmental Mr. Darcy. And we get to see how their antagonistic relationship leads to Mr. Darcy breaking up her sister and Mr. Bingley, which of course she gets really ticked about, the way that he talks about her family, the way that she's prejudiced against him, and she's so ironclad in her beliefs and everything that the two of them just cannot get along. Until her family finally sends her off on holiday with her aunt and uncle, and they get to go to Mr. Darcy's estate, where she runs into Mr. Darcy's younger sister and finally begins to learn about what actually happened in Mr. Darcy's past, and begins to learn about what Mr. Darcy has tried to do behind the scenes for other people. That was good. He could have been more open about it. And so the two of them have to overcome all these misunderstandings, which have led to so much heartache, and for both sides. And we actually get to see them come together earlier, almost as friends or almost as allies, break apart and become enemies once again, only to come back and finally reconcile and start admitting that they do have feelings for each other. This is one of the most classic enemies to lovers, and it works out really well. And it's great because it's the kind of enemy that doesn't require bloodshed. It's an enemy of gossip. It's an enemy of circumstance. It's an enemy of class. And those are all things that can be overcome with enough effort and understanding. And it takes certain situations that allow Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth to finally start working things out. It's a slow burn, but it's a slow burn that's absolutely worth it, especially for all the wittiness. Then we have, in the bottom right-hand corner, we have Luz and Amity. Now then, Luz and Amity are, I think, a really great example of enemies to lovers, because they do start off as enemies. Amity does not trust Luz, who is a human. She does not like the fact that Luz is invading into her private space of school, showing her up, and befriending Willow, another witch who is called Half-a-Witch Willow, who Amity, thanks to the encouragement of her mother, has cut ties with. They were once close friends. Now they're rivals, bully/victim. And when Luz comes in like a whirlwind, Amity just does not like this. And she even fights against Luz, looking to beat Luz, hurt Luz, in order to prove her point that humans should not be here, and that humans cannot learn magic, and blah, 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 blah. And Luz, for her part, yeah, she's a little bit like, I don't like this Amity chick, but one of the things that helps to reconcile their differences is the fact that Luz wants to be on the Boiling Isles. Luz wants to make friends with other people, and even though she doesn't like how Amity has treated Willow, maybe there might just be something there. And while I would argue, and people can disagree with me on this, I will argue that the first season moved too quickly through Luz and Amity's relationship. It almost too quickly reconciled their differences in order to get to the cute blushing phase. Luz and Amity are a good example of going from enemies to awkward crushes. So when we pop back a little bit to, okay, so first you must firmly establish why these two characters are enemies. Amity does not like Luz for a whole variety of reasons, and Luz doesn't trust Amity because Amity is a bully. And we get to see that culminate with them actually fighting each other in the arena, which then leads to Ida and Lilith having an epic battle, one of the coolest animated battles in the Owl House. But their differences are not irreconcilable. they do manage to work it out, because Amity feels used and betrayed by Lilith in this whole fight, because her powers were boosted without her knowing it, and being used just to settle a score between two older women. Yeah, no, Amity's not okay with that. And so she's willing to not be angry at Luz for what happened in that fight, and instead be like, I guess it's complicated, acknowledging that it's complicated. And we get multiple episodes that do come back and revisit what kind of a relationship there is between Luz and Amity, that allow them to reevaluate who they are, where they are. And this then leads to, in step 4, to build a new relationship of these characters, we get the awkward crush. That is the option that we get for Luz and Amity, which then in season 2 is developed into full-blown romance. And then they go on, they stay together throughout the whole series. I do have some quibbles about what is done with their romance after that point, because I feel like it's something that could have been used to like really build up both characters. But because of what Disney did to Dana Terrace, absolutely demolishing her 3rd season when she was even at one point promised to get 5 seasons, I understand that there was not enough time to probably fully develop the relationship that she really wanted between Luz and Amity. And on top of that, she was determined to give Luz a depression arc. And the unfortunate thing is that it did not mesh well with the cog of enemies to lovers. So if season 3 feels a little bit janky when you focus in on Luz and Amity, that's why. That's why, because those two cogs can work together, but it takes a little bit of work. It takes a lot of work. And it is not enough work that they were able to put in to 3 special episodes. So that's why it doesn't work out too well. But otherwise, for what it is, I argue it's pretty well written. Then we've got You've Got Mail. Oh boy, I feel like I've absolutely dated myself with this one. It's a great movie. This is a really sweet rom-com. So you got Tom Hanks, you got Meg Ryan, who operate opposing bookstores. Tom Hanks basically owns Barnes and Noble, which has a different name, which is crushing all of the little bookstores. Meg Ryan is one of those small bookstore owners, and she despises this man because he sees her because she sees him as a guy who is just ruthlessly destroying her life's work and something that she loves, being the store. He is like, why won't these people just get together with the times? Why don't they realize that the big corporate way is the way forward and that they can make so much money? And so they don't like each other. They are absolutely business rivals, and she hates him almost all the way up until the very end. He, however, begins to fall for her because of a chat room, an online chat room in the early days of the internet, where they talk and they just get to know each other. And when he finds out that his business rival is the woman he's been talking to, that he's been developing a crush on, the neat thing for him is that he reevaluates the relationship, and he's like, oh my gosh, she's not just my rival, but she's the woman that I fall in love with. What on earth am I supposed to do? And so, awkward crush scenario. And the reconciliation between them is most of what the movie's about how they have to both see each other in a different light. That, hey, it's not okay to just simply crush the smaller business people. And they have something to contribute. They have something that big business can't do. But at the same time, big business isn't necessarily heartless. When she goes to his fantasy Barnes and Noble, she sees that Tom Hanks has got a really good selection of books, book clubs, special book corners. People are happy there. People are reading there. And at the end of the day, people just want a good book. And so what they're fighting each other, like the reason why they don't like each other is because they just come at business from a different angle. Ultimately, they both love books, and they're both serving people who want to read. And so why can't they just reconcile those differences and give their love a chance? It's the big question. And so That's How You've Got Mail. How You've Got Mail is an How You've Got Mail. You've Got Mail. You've Got Mail is an excellent example in the reconciliation side of enemies to lovers, the reevaluating, figuring out who the other person is, and coming to respect that, and redefining your relationship from arch enemies to something else that, if given the chance, can become love. I thought you were talking about the meme this entire time. Nope. And then lastly, we've got on this slide, we've got Chris and Susie from Deltarune, which chapter 1 of Deltarune is also much like You've Got Mail, more about the reconciliation, bridging the gap between these two people. Yes, we know that Chris is interested in Susie on some kind of level, but Susie doesn't feel like anyone could love her. Everyone else is a villain, everyone else is a bad guy, and so she will be the bully that they all see her to be, or they'll think that she is. So she takes it out on Chris, bashing them against the lockers, threatening to bite off their face. And Chris, as you play through the game, if you're willing to play through everything that is happening, you realize that Chris at one point almost feels a little bit at wit's end. How do you reconcile things with Susie? How do you bridge that divide? And the solution is helping Susie understand friendship, understanding her friendship with Lancer, then apologizing to Ralsei and becoming friends with Ralsei, and then ultimately Chris stepping in then to save Susie from King's attack. And that seals the deal for Susie, that this is a person who does care for her, a person who is her friend. And at the end of chapter 1, she wants to go back the next day with Chris. Let the adventures continue. And we pick up in chapter 2 with Susie treating Chris like her friend. Then throughout chapter 2, as we're right now playing through in the Krusie playthrough, we can see how Susie's definitely holding on to Chris. Like, Chris, you're my friend. Chris, you're my friend. And we then get to see how that relationship can already begin to be sculpted into something romantic. There are hints of flirting here and there. There's hints of desire. We see that Chris is not too pleased with the idea of Susie and Noelle potentially going to the fair together and all these things. There's a little bit of jealousy. All of these things which can lead us to a potential romance down the road. That is something that will have to be sculpted as we go from chapter to chapter. But chapter 1 of Deltarune very clearly solidifies Chris and Susie as enemies, and by the end of that chapter, they've become friends. In chapter 2, we pick up from there, and we get to see that relationship continue to develop. TV Cat says, if you want to play something crazy, try Zenless Zone Zero. Trust me, it gets crazy. I've never heard of that before, but thanks to you for the recommendation, TV account. Chris's one action of risking their life for Susie did a lot more than talking ever did. Yes, actions speak louder than words. So rivals, they love-hate relationship, then finally romantic relationship. Yes, with a lot of work in between. Chapter 2, she's a little overprotective in some parts. LOL. Yes, she is. So these are some good examples of enemies to lovers. Then we get the bad examples. Yes. Let's tackle the fanfic in the very middle of the slide, shall we? This is of Hermione Granger and Draco Malfoy, which I do not know why so many fans in the Harry Potter fan base love this ship. I don't see it. I honestly don't. Yeah, sure, it's fun to talk about, but like seriously, I'm like, no. Oh no, is that Twilight? No, it's not Twilight. That's the heads of two other characters imposed on a wedding photo. Oh my gosh. But so right here, this is a fanfic idea. Hermione and Draco, them getting together. that it would work out so well. And so in the books, in the canon, obviously it doesn't happen at all. But in fan fictions, a lot of people have tried writing them together, and it just doesn't work. And the big reason for that is because, again, it's very clear throughout the books that they are enemies. Draco sees Hermione as a mudblood. No, I will never touch that filth. And Hermione doesn't deserve that disrespect, and she doesn't like it. Obviously. Tell me you just made that up. No, Arts, I have not. You can look it up. There's even music videos about these two. The problem is that so many fanfic authors have never figured out a good way of reconciling their differences. It can be done. It can be done. But what it would require is a massive shift on Draco's part, and Hermione having to learn to also be a little bit more accepting of other people as well. It would require so much work, but it can be done, because even though it's a big divide between purebloods and Muggleborn, that is a divide that can be bridged. And we know it can be bridged because we've seen other examples in the Harry Potter series about people bridging that gap. For crying out loud, Ron is a pure-blooded wizard who marries Hermione, who is a Muggleborn. We also remember that Harry's father, James Potter, pure-blooded wizard, married Lily Evans, who was a Muggle-born witch. So we know that divide can be bridged. It would just require a lot of work on Draco and Hermione's part, because they really hate each other. And that's what most creators of these kinds of fanfics have not yet figured out how to execute properly, because they want to get to the hot and heavy as quickly as possible, rather than taking all the time you need to really fix a massive problem between these two. Arts is losing their mind, right? I mean, Hermione never shows any slight interest in Draco whatsoever in the series. Exactly. This is a weird ship. It's an absolutely weird ship. And every fanfic I've ever read for Hermione and Draco is just, I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh, I need eye bleach. Dark State Dreams asks, I meant the top right one, the top right picture. That is not from Twilight. That is from Fourth Wing. So, I have not read Fourth Wing. However, Camille has. Camille took the bullet for everyone and read that book. And if you, let's see here, I'll quickly, very quickly pull up, well, not up here, but I will find, I'm going to find the video that she did, so that way I can post it for you guys to check out. But Fourth Wing was just an absolute disaster of a story for so many reasons. But one of the big, so this is where, again, where the trope just unfortunately plays into something way more toxic, because the author just really wanted these two characters to get together so that way they could boink each other, and thought that it would make it all the more sexy and tantalizing if they were enemies. So you've got this girl who's got a real world medical issue that causes her to go limp. Her bones can break very easily. Her muscle strength is severely lacking, and she should not become a dragon rider because she just won't survive. She can't be a good warrior. Then you've got what's his bucket? Zared. It's like Zared, something, a name that begins with an X, who's all like, Your father and mother led to the deaths of my parents. Therefore, I hate you. I will kill you. You will die by my hand. Oh, but you're so frail and so sexy. Oh, I want you. And this is again where it's like, okay, then irreconcilable. If this girl's parents led to the death of his parents and his ostracizing at one point, why would he ever give her the time of day or even begin to consider her as someone that he might be romantically interested in? It just would not happen. It doesn't compute. It doesn't work. Camille made a music video about Draco and Hermione. Oh, I wish. I would love to see Camille put together a video like that. I think I remember watching her review of that book. Yeah, just watching her suffer. All right, there's the link. If anyone wants to check that out. It just doesn't work because, and then here's another element why it doesn't work. Because the academy that they're in, and this academy is stupid, encourages people to murder each other because the people who survive the murder attempts will just become stronger as a result. Fourth Wing is dumb on so many levels. So, in an environment where you are encouraged to kill the weak, and where this other weak person is the source, her family is the source of all your agony, why would you fall in love with this other person? It doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. And because she's not really interested in him other than, oh my, the mattress mumbo might be so great, but she's more concerned with like eliminating all of her rivals rather than getting into bed with any of them. All of the angst is just, it's forced. It's like, oh, they will get together. It's just so hot. It's so hot. Enemies to lovers. Oh, it will work. It will work. It will work, I tell you. And then it just feels forced. If you felt your skin crawling a little bit as I said that, that's how it feels reading relationships like that. Gah! Then let's address Romeo and Juliet, which a lot of people say is the original enemies to lovers. But this comes back to understanding enemies. Enemies. So the Montagues and the Capulets obviously don't like each other. They fight each other. That's how the play begins. That's how the movies all begin, with the Capulets and the Montagues murdering each other in the streets. And so the families don't like each other. When we were introduced to Romeo, Romeo couldn't care less because Romeo just had his heart broken by another girl, and he's like, I wish to commit suicide because there's just no use in living. The lady that I love so much, I'm only 15 years old, by the way, the lady that I love so much, oh, she broke my heart. Oh, Juliet. Oh, yonder Juliet on balcony. Oh my! It's such a lovely little 13-year-old girl. Yes, early modern romance. 15, 13-year-olds. Anyway, that weirdness aside, Juliet has no real reason to hate Romeo. She likes Romeo fair enough when he arrives at the party and presents himself to her. He's in love with her because hormones and love at first sight. And he has no thought of, oh my gosh, she's from the family of my enemies. I cannot do such a thing. No, he's all like, oh my gosh, this makes it even sexier. Yes. My good friends, you will help me break into the party so that way I can meet Juliet. And the rest goes on from there. There's a lot that people can criticize with Romeo and Juliet, but for the sake of this particular live stream, since we're talking about enemies to lovers, you have to ask, were Romeo and Juliet ever enemies? Their families are, but within the story are these two. The answer is no, which is why there's no reason for them to reconcile any differences. Instead, it's all about keeping their relationship hush-hush, so that way their families don't take vengeance out on them for breaking the long-standing feud. And so, it's not an enemies to lovers story at all. It is its own romance story of enemies being there, like Callum and Rayla being caught in the middle of a great war, or in this case, a small local fight, and romance blossoms in the most unexpected places, which is the allure of Romeo and Juliet, honestly. That in a situation where two people shouldn't fall in love, they did fall in love. That is the beauty behind Romeo and Juliet. The rest gets really silly from there. Zeiss says, yes, the classics. I see that Hannah's got a little bit of a sick emoji right there. Yes, I understand. TV account. How is it that some folks make really bad stories but don't realize it until other people read it? TV account, that is a great question. And the best answer, and I think the most charitable answer that I can give for every one of us, because this happens to so many of us, where we write something that we might think is really good, and other people that are like, no, I'm sorry, dude, this isn't great. This comes from not being able to see the forest for the trees. So we know our own stories so well. We know our characters so well. Everything that's not on the page, we know it. And so to us, to a story that we spend so much time with, that we've put all of our love and effort into to create, it's beautiful to us. But when it's presented to someone else who doesn't know all that stuff, they can more clearly see what doesn't work, what does and what doesn't, the flaws and the beauties of that story. And that's why it's so important to get other people's feedback. So that way you can take a step back, see your story through someone else's eyes, and realize what you need to fix. And this happens to all of us. And that's, I think, the most charitable answer that I can give. It's not that some people, it's that everyone who writes elements into their stories, or even sometimes a whole story that seems really good to them, but is obviously flawed when other people begin to point out those mistakes. The difference then, really, between a far better story, for instance, like, say, Pride and Prejudice versus Fourth Wing, is that I guarantee Pride and Prejudice went through a lot of work to make sure that it was just right. The way that Jane Austen wanted it to be. Fourth Wing went through a lot of work to ignore all the red flags so that way this couple could be what the author wanted them to be. Forcing things, shipping them, rather than sculpting the relationship. The big difference between shipping and sculpting. Shipping says, these characters would be great together. They're now together. Yes, mattress mumbo. And sculpting says, these characters would be amazing together. How do I make that relationship work? Okay, I got to make them do this. They have to do this. They have to have this conversation. This character has to realize that he was wrong there. This character has to realize that she was wrong there. They have to talk things over. Oh, here's a misunderstanding, but they come back together, which makes them even stronger. The sculpting, putting in the time to chisel out the gorgeous statue from within the marble, or to mold the clay the way that it needs to be. However you see sculpting in your own head. Okay, so pop quiz time. ISO, I am relying on you for one of these. Pop quiz. Which of these couples is a good example of enemies to lovers? Explain. We have En and Uzi from Murder Drones. We have Anne and Sasha from Amphibia. And we've got Sokka and Suki from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Do. Yes, I would like to see in the comment, I would like to see here in the chat what people think. Which of these three is a good example of enemies to lovers? And we will then have a discussion. Art says number 1, so that would be En and Uzi, or Newsy. TV account says Newsy. ISO says En and Uzi because Sokka and Suki weren't enemies. Yes, excellent. They weren't enemies. They They just had a misunderstanding. And misunderstanding which they solved in one episode. Dark Sage Dream says either en and Uzi or Osaka and Suki. Sorry if I misspelled Suki. Nah, no worries. Iso says, I have an essay. Oh, yay. I'm looking forward to that. Whether it be in the chat or in the comments, I look forward to it. Hannah says, those robots. Iso, you write. Art says, rhymes with Newsy rhymes with Krusie. Yes. Okay. So, as people like Iso might then explain why en and Uzi are the correct example of enemies to lovers, let me then explain why the other two don't work. Obviously, Sokka and Suki were never enemies. They weren't. They didn't get along at first, but just because you don't get along doesn't mean that you're enemies, as is very clearly displayed within the episode. And the episode of the Warriors of Kyoshi Island, great episode. Absolutely great. Then we have Anne and Sasha from Amphibia. Anne and Sasha were very good friends who become enemies during seasons 1 and 2. And what we come to find out, and I love this from season 1 of Amphibia, is that season 1 from Amphibia very subtly communicates to you before the climax at the end of the first season that Sasha was always a toxic friend. And then that's revealed, and then Anne and Sasha become enemies. But then Anne and Sasha work to overcome their differences after the devastating events at the end of season 2, when Sasha and Grimes betray everyone and allow the Toad Army into Newtopia and overthrow Newtopia, and then when Marcy and King Andreas then betray everyone, and King Andreas then betrays Marcy, and then people start getting stabbed and thrown out of windows, and it's such a good season 2's finale of Amphibia is amazing. Matt Brawley and his team did so dang well. But here's the thing. Even though Anne and Sasha, over the course of season 3, end up reconciling what happened between them and become friends again, no, they never become romantically involved. It is never shown in the story, and Matt Brawley was, I can't exactly say coward because he was working with Disney, but then dropping right at the very end after the show had finished premiering, oh, by the way, Sasha is bi. I'm like, okay, and so what now? It's like how J.K. Rowling at the end of Harry Potter was like, oh yeah, by the way, everyone, Dumbledore's gay. And it's like, but he's already dead. What? You mean to tell me that you buried your gay? That's just bad, man. So Anne and Sasha just become friends again. They never develop a romantic relationship. And all of the pointing to, there's one scene where Sasha's blushing. People blush when they're embarrassed. And Sasha's very embarrassed when she has to admit to Anne that what she did was bad, and Anne forgives her. It's a very embarrassing and very touching scene. Get your heads out of the clouds and out of the gutter. If you want to write a fanfic for the two of them, by all means, go on ahead. But within the story itself, within the canon, we don't actually get any romance between Anne and Sasha. In fact, that's actually one of the very refreshing things about Amphibia is how Anne isn't romantic. It's actually really nice to have a story where the main character isn't defined by their relationship status. I really do like that. Are saying, yes, ISO, please elaborate. Imagine having a drone couple have a better romance than 60% of rom-com stories. I know, right? Rose says, Anne and Sasha through process of elimination. Oh, interesting. I'm looking forward to Ro defending Anne and Sasha then as the enemies to lovers example right there. Mimic, hello, I'm finally back from the dead. Hey there, Mr. Lars and friends. Long time no see. I apologize for being absent for so long. Glad to be back and ready to learn again. Well, Mimic, thank you so much for popping back on in. I hope that you're doing well. say, unfortunately, you're kind of jumping in at the end, towards the tail end of today's lesson on enemies to lovers, but do not worry. This live stream will be up for everyone to watch at their leisure once we are done. TV Ken says, true that, LOL. Arts, J.K. Says, J.K. Rowling was just trying to stay in the moment, I think. I wonder if original authors try to make fanfics of their stories and publish them under anonymous usernames. Well, I feel a little bit called out. But actually, no. So, fun little sidebar. Most of the fanfics that I've written, minus the Krusie ones, most of them actually play into elements of some of my larger stories. If you've read either The Monarch Mercenaries or The Legend of the Ten Lords, you should be able to start picking up on some of the hints that are dropped in those fanfics, going all the way back to the Villainous Vigilantes, which has Bill Cipher, Captain Eisen from Bleach, Darkstalker from the Dragon franchise, Wings of Fire, and a couple of other characters, all being part of an operation that one character from The Legend of the Ten Lords puts into action. So yes, I have done that. And it'd be interesting to know if any other authors have tried anything like that for themselves. But yeah, excuse me, let me quickly take a drink of water right here. Arts, I agree with you. I think that J.K. Rowling was really trying to get some shock and awe and remain truly relevant and make a statement. She was an activist back when she was writing the Harry Potter series. So I think it was all part of her activism, trying to remain relevant, earn some brownie points, which my rule of thumb is this: until you can find a way of converting brownie points into actual brownies, don't bother with earning brownie points. Just do the good stuff. And then brownie points will come to you. And maybe one of these days we'll be able to actually cash in brownie points for real brownies. I says, this is going to take a little while. Newsy has a lot of depth and is closely tied to envy, so I may have to explain that too. Oh, I'm all here for it. It's fine though. I love murder drones, so this is fun for me. Excellent. Rose says, fun fact, in Berserk, Miru never intended Guts and Casca to end up together when originally writing the two. It just sort of developed naturally as the story was being written. Ro, that is fantastic information. I did not know that. And it makes me actually enjoy Guts and Casca even more. And I can even see it. I can even see it now. Mentally, as I'm going back through the chapters, I'm like, yeah, no, that's actually, yes, it's a very shaky, bad relationship at first, which develops into a really sweet romance. And for those of you who have been keeping up with Berserk, the latest chapter, oh, so good. Such a good emotional moment. It's an emotional moment that Guts has needed, and I am so looking forward to seeing him rise again. Because Guts is a character who has been defined by his ability to just come back again and again and again, and to have Casca stolen from him one more time. Oh, I cannot wait for Griffith's death. Oh, I'm going to love it so much. I mean, I'm going to have to wait 15 more years, but hey, I'm here for it. Oh, thank you, Arts. Dude, you're a good author. Thank you. I try. And I do not want to make light of anyone's compliments towards me. Just like with so many people, we feel like we are not deserving of praise, but the praise that we do earn is very much appreciated. So thank you so much, Arts. Dorcas Atrium says, welcome back, Mimic. Yes, indeed. Welcome back. I used this line when I was with my friends on Discord talking about bad ships. It's like shipping Aquamarine and a ship. I say Aquaman and a fish. Oh, Aquaman's like, oh, this fish does it for me. Oh boy, we're stepping away from that. Art says you've published your own works after all. Yes, I'm right now working on getting another book ready to go. I'm so excited. It'll take a little while. I think I'm going to have to push back the publishing date to May, but that's worth it to make the story the best it can be. Meg says, "Hey, that's fine, Mr. Lars. It's in my nature for me to show up late sometimes. My own birth was delayed, so it all makes sense." Awesome. Don't worry about me being late. I came late. Who needs brownie points when you can just buy brownies or make your own brownies? In the kitchen, I already have a brownie mix ready to go. Oh, it's gonna be delicious. All right, so yes, Anne and Uzi are the one couple here, though, who best typify enemies to lovers. And the reason being is because episode 1 does firmly show us that they are on opposite ends. We get it very clearly that the disassembly drones are trying to destroy all of the worker drones, and we get N trying to kill Uzi. And Uzi trying to kill N. It goes both ways. It's where we get the whole it's like the whole well, that's morality for you at the sorry, I messed up your game. as he's there on the ground dying from Jay's virus. And so in that moment you then actually get some reconciliation where N realizes, okay, things are probably not quite the way that we thought. The worker drones are not too different from us, which goes against company policy, and maybe I should let this one live because she seems rather cool, and she might have some answers as to what we're actually doing here and why we can't return, yada yada yada. And we then get to see a friendship grow between the two of them from episodes 2 through 4, and it becomes definitely an awkward crush by the end of episode 4 for Uzi, and it then develops into a romance over the course of the rest of the season. So they are indeed enemies. We get to see it. We get to see them trying to kill each other. We get the reconciliation, and then we get the development of a friendship, which then becomes a romance. And so that is why they work, at least within the trope of enemies to lovers. So again, Sokka and Suki, they were never enemies, so it doesn't work. While for a time, Sasha and Anne were absolutely enemies, they never become lovers. They just become friends again by the end of the show. The only ones who have everything from enemies all the way to lovers and all the good stuff in between comes in with N and Uzi. Now then, this is where things get a little bit interesting. This is where, again, coming back to what I said right here. Secondly, and I said you can take most writing formulas and you can chuck them out the window or you can do something different. But this is the one thing that you cannot just skip over. Remember that whatever differences they have as enemies cannot be irreconcilable. There needs to be a way for the two of them to get together. When we think about N and Uzi, we know that the disassembly drones attacked Nori, which resulted in her succumbing to the nanite acid, and Khan having to put her out of her misery, and then her core popped out of her chest, and then went back into the labs, and so we know as we go throughout the show that especially V is responsible for a lot of deaths throughout the series, and that makes any friendship between her and Uzi, highly unlikely, almost impossible. Between her and N, the reason why the whole killing of the worker drones ends up being something that she can overcome is because as we go throughout the whole show, we realize that life doesn't mean much on Copper 9. People are dying left and right. Life is cheap. And what matters most then in that kind of a situation is, who can you trust? And Uzi in episode 2, her fledgling trust in N is broken by the horrors of Absolute Solver and confronting what the disassembly drones might be. But that trust is restored in the fact that N comes back to help Uzi during the whole prom thing and is there to help save her multiple times. And so she then knows that this is one person that she can indeed trust in a world where life means very little. And that is what allows her to bridge that gap, finally. N is just a very lovable, likable guy who wants to be friends with everyone. And as V says, has made friends with rocks. So it was always going to be very easy for N to bridge that gap. Uzi's the one who takes time. And so it takes 3 episodes for that gap to be bridged. And it's one that people, again, can argue that maybe it's a little toxic because of just the nature of the world that they're in. But taking into account the nature of Copper 9 and the story as a whole, it makes sense. It's not something completely irreconcilable. If Murder Drones was a far more serious story, it would never work. It would always be a toxic relationship then, which would then mean that Envy would be the better way to go. And I do agree. I personally, I like Envy better than Newsy. You guys know where I stand on that. But N and Uzi's relationship, for what we get, is well executed. And I think even coming back to the criticisms for the finale, one of the things that kind of brought the finale down a little bit was the fact that more emphasis was put on Newsy than it was on resolving some of the big questions and big conflicts, or even just giving proper character time and development to Khan and Thad and Lizzie. Well, okay. Little rant done right there. ISO is right now taking a break from writing my essay to listen. Okay. Again, I'm looking forward to that essay. So let's then come at last now to the last slide. The last slide is, how do we apply enemies to lovers in our own stories? So again, please consider this. This is a trope that needs to be handled with great care, because it is one that can so easily become toxic. And so in order to avoid that, if you wish to use this trope, you need to get to know your characters really, really well. You need to know if an enemies to lovers type of story would work for them. If it doesn't, please don't force it. Please don't force it. Just stick to whatever else you had intended to do with those characters and have fun with it. If an enemies to lovers plotline or subplot doesn't fit, don't cram it in. Just like with putting together a clock, if you put in gears that don't work or were never meant to be there, it's not going to work out very well for you. So that is just something that you need to take into consideration. Just because a lot of people like enemies to lovers does not mean that your story needs it. Only if your characters need it. And so once you've decided, if you've decided to go the route of doing an enemies to lovers storyline, you need to put in the heavy lifting. You've got a lot of work to do, because you now need to establish them as enemies. You then need to create the plausible scenario for them to come together, and you then need to transform and reevaluate their relationship from enemies into something else, to friends, to allies, to an awkward crush. And then from there, you start developing an actual romance. You are giving yourself so much extra work to do if you wish to do an enemies to lovers style story. So that's just something, again, to really bear in mind should you go this route. And I will reiterate again and again, writing a romantic couple is like sculpting a fine statue. It takes a lot of work, foresight, and a clear end goal that makes sense. If you don't have that in mind, you will probably not be able to pull off the enemies to lovers trope. It will fall apart, and then people will just say, it's toxic, it's toxic, it's toxic. Which we don't want people to treat your stories that way. Unless you intentionally decide to write a toxic relationship, like I did in Study in Blood. That was deliberate. There is nothing romantic about what happens between Vix and Lorelli. Absolutely not. If you want to know, you can get the book and you can read it. But I will say this, that book is more mature than anything else I've written. So it is not meant for younger audiences. That is an 18 plus book. So fair warning for A Study in Blood. And I wanted to explore what it would be like to write a toxic relationship. But normally, you don't want to just write a toxic relationship or write a relationship that you say is cute and amazing and wonderful, but it has all these toxic elements and you'll just, and you know what, it's just messy. People like messy. No. So some people do like that stuff, but that's what the smutty romance corner is for. Not for most stories that people actually do want to read. Mig says, knowing N, he could figure out a way to make friends with Mordecai and Cthulhu. Yes. I mean, the voice actor is definitely trying to make friends with Mordecai over in Lackadaisy. Yes. I would love to see N try to make friends with Cthulhu. Is it just me, or I think James, May, and Cheese are the best couple? James, May, and Cheese. I don't get this reference. But Mac and Cheese is a very excellent couple. Very fattening. TV Count says, maybe Liam was afraid the shipping wars would get dangerous once he established the couple. Like, if he didn't make it obvious, the folks would believe it's not canon. I can see that. Especially with V's, with V coming back. Like, that was something that I had been calling out, and I had even thought that if she did come back, it would be for N and V to get back together. So I can see that. I can see that particular perspective right there, TV Account, that Liam just really wanted to make sure, guys, this is the canon relationship. Mm-hmm. Yes, nothing else. Nick says, and you're taking quite the risk if you're choosing to go down the enemies to lovers friend route, honestly. Going down the enemies to lovers friends route is pretty risky, ain't it? It can be, which is, again, why Zuko and Katara's relationship from Avatar: The Last Airbender is perfectly written from enemies to friends. They never becomes enemies to lovers, but from enemies to friends is so well written. And definitely watch Avatar: Last Airbender, especially the third season, to get all the full details of how the writers managed to change such an antagonistic, vile enemies relationship between the two of them and change that into something that then became one of the best friendships in the series. It was so good. Arts, there's nothing romantic about Hermione and Draco. Nothing. Absolutely. I don't know why the fans like it so much. Right here, Rose says, what do you think about Mara Jade and Luke from enemies to lovers standpoint from Star Wars Legends? Ro, I have not unfortunately read those books myself, but I have heard most of the story behind Mara Jade and Luke Skywalker. From what I have been told and from what little I've read, it sounds really good. I do need to read the Thrawn trilogy in order to get the full details because just because I've been told it's an amazing series. And I do like the idea of Mara Jade and Luke getting together because I'm not a fan of Jedis just being celibate monks because that that's just a recipe for disaster, as we get to see in the Star Wars prequel movies. So yes, yes, let Jedi actually have families. That's going to be good for people. There's definitely attachment to families, but you can train a Jedi to still love their family and sacrifice for the greater good. It's what we teach soldiers to do. So why can't a Jedi? ISO says, Lars, I need your verbal support. NX Uzi XV is toxic, right? I have made the mistake of going onto Reddit. ISO, I agree. I agree. And one of the reasons why I agree with that is because polyamorous relationships are so hard to make work. The only polyamorous relationship that I know of in fiction that works is from the Wheel of Time between Rand, Avienda, Elaine, and Min. And the only reason why that truly works out is because there are 14 books to explore their relationships and to show how all three women can love each other as sisters, maybe even as romantic partners in the case of Elaine and Avienda, if we want to go that far, and also love Rand and how Rand can love all of them equally. That is so hard to justify in just one book or one short fan fiction. Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson needed 14 books to make that work. Polyamorous relationships can be made to work, but you have to put in the effort. And coming back to how V is responsible for so many deaths, and how V hasn't really shown any contrition for her actions towards the worker drones at all. Everything that she does has always been in service of N, of the relationship that she wants with him, not with Uzi. This would mean that V and Uzi would have to reconcile and come to actually like and even love each other while also loving N equally. That's a whole ton of work. And one could even argue that that is an irreconcilable gap between them, because the only reason why V would even go for it is because she loves N. And that is just too convoluted and comes from a bad place. Other people can like it. You can ship what you're going to ship, and I'm not going to be like, I will sink your ship. I'm just the guy who provides the ammunition to everyone. I'm the arms dealer. But it's a ship that I don't think is very healthy. And so I do agree with you on that one, ISO. Again, other people can feel free to disagree with me. But again, if you wish to write polyamory, you have to put in the work. You have to do it. And if you think that one romance is already difficult enough to handle with just two people, it becomes even more complicated when you add a third, a fourth into the mix. So, whew. And he says, yeah, let the Jedi get laid for once. Yes. Oh, man, have that as a slogan in front of the Jedi Temple. Let the Jedi get laid. Mimic opposites attract, as they say. Oh, they absolutely do. I can tell you that much. Now that I think about it, Asuna and Kirito are a good example of enemies to lover relationship, even if the plot doesn't make sense. I'm going to have to push back right there, because Asuna and Kirito aren't really ever enemies. They are allies at the very beginning of the show, and then because Kirito decides to be an angsty edgelord, I'm a beater, and goes off alone and abandons her, yeah, that's a pretty bad move to make right there. That's a jerk move. But as we learn, Kirito works alongside her guild multiple times and is looking out for other people's safety, so it's hard to justify it. They don't like each other, but people not liking each other doesn't make them enemies. It has to be shown. It would have to be shown how Asuna and Kirito legitimately are trying to undermine and destroy the other in some kind of way. Then it would definitely be enemies. But unfortunately, in the canon, it doesn't work. I says, oh, Sword Art Online abridged is perfect enemies to lovers. I'll have to watch. I definitely have to now watch the abridged just to make a good comparison. Because in the canon, it's definitely not enemies to lovers. They have a very rocky patch. They definitely don't like each other at one point, but that doesn't classify them as enemies. There's a lot of people around me in my own personal life that I don't get along with, but I would never want to think of like slashing their tires or feeding them poison or anything like that, or trying to rob from them. No, and just because I don't like someone doesn't mean I need to go out of my way to hurt them. And because that's the case, I'm not an enemy. Rose says, no offense to anybody who is poly, but it's hard enough to make a convincing relationship between two characters. Yes, thank you, Ro. That's exactly the case. A good relationship, a good romance is already so hard to create and to write. Polyamory is just a very hard thing to pull off, both in real life and in fiction, to make it work. Like, you can write anything you want to, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to click, that it's going to work for your readers, which comes back to what TV Account said. Why is it that some people can write a story that they think is really great and that everyone else says is really bad? And relationship writing, romance writing definitely falls under that heading for so many authors. I'm just going to pull this up for right now. But V smiled at Uzi. Oh my gosh, murder on subreddit. Yeah. Thank goodness I'm not crazy. The amount of support I saw on Reddit for this ship is ludicrous. It comes about because people want V to be happy. And that's the honest, that's I believe the honest and most charitable answer, is that people really did love V. I mean, I love V as a character, but people way too often attach a character's happiness to whether or not a character is in a relationship. And that is what leads to a lot of shipping, because people are like, I want my character to be the happiest that they could be. And my character and the character that I like would be the happiest if they were in a relationship with this person. And thus the ship comes into being. And I feel like that's what's happened there with V, because there's a lot of reasons where they're like, ooh, well, V obviously likes N, and opposites attract. What if V would like Uzi? Ooh. And it just snowballs from there. It'll make V so happy. I says SAO Bridge is at least 5 times better than the original. Oh, wow. That'll be amazing. Rose says, where do tsunderes fall in the enemies to lovers scale? If the tsundere is actively going... Boy. Oh, boy. Okay. Ro, there is an example. Let me see if I can get the right name for this manga real quick. So there's a manga about two tsunderes, where one of the tsunderes after the other, and the one tsundere is then after is actually, no, in this case they're actually not tsunderes, they're both yanderes. I'm getting that wrong. You've got two yanderes that are chasing after. One yandere is chasing the other yandere, and the other yandere is chasing another person entirely. Let's see if I can. Let's see if I can pull up this manga. It's got a really weird name. Let's see if I can find it. Not even if you were the last person. I wouldn't choose you, I think is what it is. No, not that one. I think. There we go. Okay. So that's the name of the manga. I'll quickly put it on over here. Just as an interesting example. This actually is an interesting one as far as like of asking the question, could it work as in terms of enemies to lovers? Even if I were to die, I wouldn't choose you. Is the name of the manga. And so it's an interest. This one's a really, really fun manga in terms of like what happens when two yanderes end up in a relationship. But coming back to tsunderes, the thing is that I would say that if a person in the relationship was a tsundere, that it would only come out after the reconciliation part. That the other person wouldn't realize that their enemy, who's now their friend or their ally or awkward crush, is a tsundere until after they have bridged the gap that made them enemies in the first place. That's the way that I would explain that. Because if a person's a tsundere for someone who's already an enemy, then there has to be an explanation behind that. So it can work, but you'll have to do a little bit of work. You'll have to do some good groundwork on those characters to really make it stick. Meg says, "What would the relationship between Megara and Hercules count as enemies to lovers too?" Ooh, that's a good question, Mimic. That's an excellent question. I think that comes down to whether or not you can classify Megara as Meg really being Hercules' enemy. In a way, she is. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say that you can classify Megara and Hercules as enemies to lovers. However, I think that there is also a good reason to push back against that, just because Megara, even though she belittles Hercules at the beginning and is working with Hades, who wants to kill Hercules, that very quickly she, like, for instance, when Hercules kills the Hydra, she claps for him. Megara is also disturbed by the lengths that Hades goes to try to kill Hercules. So the argument there is that Megara may already have had enough of a connection with Hercules that she didn't see him as her villain. So that's an interesting one to contemplate, and I think that would be a really, really neat discussion to have with some people. TV Count says, "Is this thing with Chris Chan? Is this a thing with actual people?" I don't know who Chris Chan is, so I can't comment. TV Count. I says, "I do think V deserves happiness, but the random shipping that the Murder Drones Reddit fandom does would not make her happy." Oh no, she would murder most of us. Absolutely. I think that she would spare me just because I like her and N together. Dark says, "I'm guessing Ryuji and Taiga from Toradora aren't enemies to lovers. They don't really hate each other and even try to help one another at the beginning of the anime." I haven't seen Toradora, so I unfortunately can't comment. I just know that it's one that people say I really need to watch, so I need to do my homework. I says, "What's more, I think Jay deserves more in general, more character, more development, more personality, more happiness." Amen. I agree with that. Mick says a yandere could also fall into the enemies to lovers scale too, if you count Stockholm Syndrome. Yes, yanderes actually work as a far better character archetype for enemies to lovers than just a straight up tsundere does. So enemies to lovers, Tex in Church from Red versus Blue. Lovers to enemies to lovers. Sad and emotional. Oof. Darkest Daydream says we don't talk about Chris Chan. And we don't talk about Bruno either. Meg says Megara is already the daughter of Hades, so naturally she's already Hercules' enemy. All right, so yeah, Chris Chan is better off being a non-topic here. All right. Well, I will take that as is. Yeah, I don't know. I'm blissfully unaware. TV Count, the dude thinks fictional characters are real like those Reddit folk. Well, if that guy has read my books, like Monarch Mercenaries and The Legend of the Ten Lords, then yes, all fictional characters are real in another universe. Aha! We just can't get to that universe unless you're a crossover. So if you want to know about that, then please check out my books and ignore this guy, because I can at least deliver an interesting story to y'all. All right. So that's basically everything that I had planned as far as enemies to lovers goes. And I do want to play through a little bit more of Deltarune with my Krusie run to just have some good fun there to advance the story. We'll get to some really juicy emotional moments between some of the characters before we gotta log on off. I won't be playing for too long because I do need some food. But Chris, no, maybe we're just gonna go with Chris Evans because apparently Chris Chan is supposed to be a non-topic here. So we'll go with Chris Evans. Chris Evans, good guy. Chris Pine, good guy. What other Chris's do we got around here? Chris Rock? Yeah. Yeah, all the other good Chris's. Let me take a drink of water. Yeah, Chris Rock is chill. Ooh, yes, Chris Pratt. How could I forget Chris Pratt? Shouldn't forget Chris Pratt. Yeah. Chris Dreamer. Yes. Yes. There's all these other greater Chris's that we can have fun talking about. Woohoo. All right. Let me get some things squared away over here at my end. So that way we are good to go. Oh, now there's a fun song. So, because just as I started, right as I just started humming that, I don't know how many of you have ever listened to "I Was Strolling in the Park One Day." It is a rather famous tune used most often by the Looney Tunes, and it is a fun one. I will, because I feel like being, oh yes, Chris Hemsworth, yes, really good. Chris Hemmings, Chris Pokemon, so many other great Chris's, and Christmas, Christmas. So we're gonna get more of Christmas. But if you guys have never heard this little song here, then I'll just quickly. It works best for a barbershop quartet, which I'm not. I'm just a one-man band. But I was strolling in the park one day, in the merry month of May, when I was taken by surprise by a pair of pretty eyes. Oh boy, I'm getting it all wrong. As I was strolling through the park that day. Do 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 do. Isn't Chris a character in Pokemon Crystal? I don't know. I haven't played Pokemon Crystal. All right. So let me see here though really quick, making sure that I don't blow out anyone's eardrums with audio. Okay. There we go. So when I then share the screen right here, it shouldn't kill anyone's eardrums, is my hope, my dream, my daring plan. I feel like Sin's the type that will stuff potatoes in her mouth. Yes, just convince her that potatoes are human flesh, and oh, she'll eat potatoes happily, all to her heart's content. Okay, sharing the screen, the entire screen. Yes, I want audio coming through. And we have ourselves the Eternal Swirl, and we are back to Deltarune. Real quick, let's see if we... Well, it'll be, Chief. Oh, dang it. Get rid of this little guy. It's just going to pop me back on over there. I don't know why it does that. Okay. Let's talk. And who is that, mademoiselle? Leave her alone, Cap. Nice radio antenna you got there. They're antlers, Cap. Huh? Oh, let's play her a song. Do 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 do. Christmas in February is really cool. Hey! Okay, so Chris is the female protagonist of Pokemon Crystal. I did not know that. Again, I have not played Pokemon Crystal. Alright, buy. Yes, I'd like to buy everything, please. So let's have a chat here. Welcome to Cyber Shoes 2. Free samples. Would you like one? Oh, I will take a free sample. You got a small shoe with a toothpick through it. Mmm. Tasty. Welcome to Cyber Shoes. Free samples. Would you like one? Alright. Now then, do I happen to have... I do not happen to have shoes with toothpick. Dang it. What have you given to me? This is the hottest tea shop. Hot, hot, hot. 50% off. Or $100. Choose your own flavor. We are going to buy. Okay, choose your own flavor. We're going to get ourselves a Chris. Alright, here you go. And just for funsies, we are going to then get Noelle. Noelle T was added to your storage. Let me just double check. Okay, so we're gonna have to access some stuff right here through storage, but let's already see what happens when we give Christy to Noelle. Tastes like cinnamon. What is that aftertaste? Oh. So Chris tastes like cinnamon? Could it be because of the pie? Oh, wait a second. Butterscotch pies. So we're going to get another Noelle tea, and we're going to see what Noelle has to say of drinking her own flavor. All right, Noelle. This is just water. You're pranking me. The interesting moment that makes you wonder what's really going on with this tea. The tea truly is kind of like a telltale of what's really going on with the characters, how the characters feel about each other. Wouldn't it be nice to have a tea like that? We're going to take care. Oh, sorry, Noelle. Nice. Whoop. Get out of the way, you demons. We shall spare, and we shall spare. Yeah, $100 for water? Yeah, what is this? Are we living in Europe? Where the beer is cheaper than the water. Inside was Bounce Blade. Bounce Blade was added to your weapons. Alright, let's have a look at this Bounce Blade. Okay, so the Mech Saber. 16. But if we go with Bounce Blade would up my defense. And since we're going for pacifist here, let's try Bounce Blade. Because defense is nice. The next fight. Shall already have to put this into action. Alrighty, let's see here. You know what? Let's do a little jiggle. You jiggled your whole body. The wire loosened and turned. Yes. Oop. Sorry there, Chris. I put you right into the midst of that. Alright. Let's defend. Use magic, and we shall then use Sleep Mist. Huzzah! Nick says, $100 for bottled water. Huh, I didn't know that Deltarune took place in 2025 America. Oh, so true. Alright. Going around, nothing else there to see. Let's talk with you. Clothing store sale! We're selling this for 75% off. Only $300 Oh, should I buy? I'm feeling in a buying mood. Great doing business with you. It was added to your armors. Alright, let's see what we've got here. So, mannequin. You know what? Let's... Well, you can't give the mannequin to... Oh, that sucks. Okay, let's see here. If I were to go with... Let's see, if we don't do the glow wrist... No, thanks. We're going to keep the glow wrist. We'll forego the mannequin for right now. Yes, buy. Buy the mannequin. Alright, we're going to... Yes, there we go. Alright, stop that. Nope. Nowhere to go. Okay. So we gotta make our way back on up over here. And come on, Noelle, don't keep me down. Don't keep me down. Ah! I blame that on Noelle. Because of course I do. Stop that. Okay. Stop. Stop and run. Don't hold me back, dear. Don't hold me back. Charge! There we go. Alright. So, remember this spot for later. For a good Krusie moments. And we keep going down. Oh, nope, no one there. Alright. Okay. Come on, you girl. Yeah. Ah, come on. Yeah, doodly doodly doo. Going through traffic. Kids, don't do this at home. Okay. Come on, honey. Ugh. I feel so weak. Ugh. Come on. Ugh. Gotta do this all over again. Yeah, I know. I'm not happy about this either, Noelle. Okay. Come on. Ugh. This is why you don't play in traffic. Okay. And run. Gah! Why is this suddenly so hard for me? What am I doing wrong? I'm doing so many things wrong. Like not going up there. Okay. Now that Lars's embarrassment is quite thorough. There we go. Alright, looks like another electric wall. Chris. This hole has a switch inside it. Maybe we could try to put something inside. A cheese. What do you think, Chris? It's a hole for mice to enter into. Alright. As many times as it takes, Noelle. As many times as it takes. Alright. So, let's... There we go. No. Back. There we go. That's the way we like it. Now then for this. And then... Nope. I made a big mistake with that one. So suddenly what comes to my mind is Tiger King. I'm never going to financially recover from this. Ah, darn it. Okay. Nope, we're going back. It's here that we're going to fix this. There we go. Alright. Unleash the mice! Death stares Chris from the bunker. I'm on episode 4 of the Murdrones essay. I might be done today. Woohoo! Well, again, I'm looking forward to reading it. Introducing the newest indie Undertale game, Deltarune, brought to you by Delta Airlines. I think the Spear of Justice is right up there with Megalovania when it comes to iconic Undertale themes. Yes it is. Force Field's still up. Did we miss something? There we go. I can't believe you made those mice. Huh? It was all according to plan. See, Des can't get angry at me for this. Let's just go, Chris. It's the citizen's duty to properly rotate and release mice during the traffic signals. Ooh, cheese! Chris, you aren't going to touch that cheese, are you? I'm going to touch the cheese. You rub the cheese down like a beloved pet. Suddenly... See, we're going to help out the mouse. Press Y to capture the mouse. Yes, I got the mouse. I've got the mouse. The mouse didn't stand a chance. And we're then going to spare and make some money. I never want to see cheese ever again. Oh. The cheese. It feels like you lost sight of what was important. I know! I didn't want to destroy the cheese. I blame you, Noel. Chris! More mice. Alright, we're gonna now do fear. The way he moves is just so scary. It's disgusting. There's no way. Mouse was rejected. Everyone felt tired. I feel tired. Why would you say that about Mouse? What has Mouse ever done to you? Let's see here. Well, we're gonna have ourselves a little. You know what? We're not gonna waste a good Lancer's cookie on this. We're gonna have a CD bagel. Scream tiredly. Oof. Okay, let's see here. Well, Chris will defend in order for there to be enough TP for the magic. Yeah, I know I do feel I lost the sight of what was truly important. I really wanted that cheese maze! Inside was CD Bagel. Well, I got CD Bagel to make up for the CD Bagel. Arnold, 1933. The mouse didn't stand a chance in my newest blockbuster movie. Arnold, 1993, probably. Yeah, that does sound like an Arnold thing from 1993. Ah, yes! It's a dead end? Yes. The switch didn't seem to work. Chris! The platform's falling! Help me! Annoying mouse room number 3. Alright, so we gotta get these mice on across. There we go. Chris, what are you doing? You made me... Huh. Yeah, Noelle, you are in my very safe and capable hands. Chris, you just saved me, didn't you? Yes. This was falling too! Chris, what did you did? Just keep doing it. Chris, stuck on this puzzle, I see. I thought I heard Noelle calling for help. Yes. Yes, you did. Poor sweet Noelle. Wherever could she be now? Crud. Hey, ooh, go back this way. Dang it. Let's see here. How do we get this one? Yes, powerless. Whoop! Chris! Right, let's see here. Whoop! Nope. Alright, here we go. Bouncing around. The maestro of all emotional intelligence. Oh, maestro, my foot. Alright. Let's see here. Technically, if you do solve these fast enough, you can actually cut him off before he gets around to everything that he wants to say. A love-struck girl with a harness sleeve. Burnley? Chris. It's truly sad. Such love may never find fruit. But still, I have to support her, Chris. She's my friend. Burnley? Also, my only worthy opponent at racing games. Why that? Uh-oh, I waited too long. Is that really what you're going to end on? I love mouse. What? Why did you... How did you solve that? Rose says, writing advice. When writing characters, we draw from our experiences and ourselves. What would you recommend to avoid self-projecting too much of a writer's own personality into the cast? This is what... So what I suggest with that, Ro, is if you want to avoid that, take a fair assessment of yourself. And be like, okay, so what are some of the things that I like? These are some of my personality traits and so forth. And then as you begin crafting those characters, deliberately choose things that are not you and build a character around that. Or you can think of characters, again, based on people you know in your own life who are very different from you, and you can build a character around them. So, for instance, my character, Ben, in The Legend of the Ten Lords, as far as like stuff that Ben and I share together between creator and character, actually very little, because I based him primarily on one friend I had in high school, along with some other traits. Jessica is based on a girl that I knew in high school, though her quest with depression later on in the series is a little bit similar to mine. So I channel a little bit of myself through her. But in terms of personality and what she does, her backstory, very different from me. So I hope that helps. Yeah, like if you feel like you're having a hard time with creating a character who's very different from you, take stock of who you are, describe yourself, and then begin building characters who are not like that. And then think about what your mentality is. What would you do in this situation? And then have characters do something different. You know, I don't think I'm afraid of mice anymore. Actually, I think they might be kind of cute. Anyways, let's keep going. Noelle is now immune to mice. Because I love mouse, and mouse loves me. The power of mice shines within you. Yes. Yes. Oh, Arnold and Helga Pataki are great enemies. Yay, you know what? Yes, Arnold and Helga. Even though Helga loves Arnold, yeah, she does not make his life easy. You dug through the trash and found $20. Yes. Added to the money hole. You dug through the trash and found $80. $80 dark dollars was added to your money hole. I like getting monies. Yes. Okay, pop up. we are going to click and an action on mouse. You unconsciously clicked on the pop-up about monsters for humans in your area. Oh, yes. Oh, monsters for humans. I wonder why. And made another one. Well, cheered brightly. The application is only supported by OS 2000. Haha, you can't catch me. All right, let's see here. We are going to again click magic on mouse. You just keep clicking on ads. There's so many of them. The pop-ups crashed. And we shall now spare the mouse. Well, that was fun. And now we learned a little bit more about Chris's internet search history. And found a CD bagel. Fantastic. Let's see here. ISO says, embarrassing fun fact. When I'm writing a scene I don't understand, I physically act it out. At one point, I was writing a scene where my main character walked in on an important side character crying. So I acted it out. I generated tears in my eyes and curled my bed. My mom walked in asking why I was crying. So I sat up and chuckled and made an excuse. Hey, getting into your character is absolutely fine to do. I have also done a couple of really embarrassing things as well, while trying to play out some of my own scenes. We have a truce with Chris. That's impossible. That would be a double truces. Huh? Worry not, my dearest Noel. I know what you really want to say. You do? Going along with all this, you feel forced, don't you? It's why you're not with Queen right now. Birdly, you get it? Yes, I do! Chris is forcing you to be on their side. Kidnapper! Chris, our truce is over! Noel, this may hurt, but it's to help you. Wait, just listen to me! Oh, Birdly. Play smart. You encourage Noel to use her mind. Magic increases. Birdly found her smarts appealing. Chris, I get it. Your head's gotten big from solving that dumb puzzle by dumb luck. Oof. We are going to have to already help you out right there a little bit. I'm going to give you a seedy bagel. You acted like you were an idiot next to Birdly's genius. Ah, Chris. A shame I must defeat someone so lowly. Birdly liked that. So you think it's your chance to usurp me of my weakness by taking my most precious thing? Well. Oof. Alrighty. We are going to play smart. You encourage Noel to use her mind. The magic's increased. Birdly found her smarts appealing. And we are now 40%. Behold, comrades. Holy crud. I forgot about this part. Alright. Let's see here. We are going to play dumb, and we're going to do sleep mist. You pretend to knit a homemade dunce cap. Birdly liked that. Sleep mist. That's right, Chris. Unlike you, I have a loving team behind me, and you'll never beat us fighting. I already took him out. Anyway, where'd the other guys go? Oof. Sorry, Noel. We are going to use ourselves an item right here. I am not doing too hot. There we go. Chris is not saying anything, and he's still asking him to shut up. There we go. Doing a little bit better this time around. Come on, Noelle, use your mind. Summon more guys? I don't need to do that. Just wait, the original ones are going to be coming back any minute now. Ah, yes, they will. Oof. I did not need to fly into that one, but I did. Alright, here. Let's see here. We're going to do another play dumb. And we're going to use healing prayer. Noelle. You did several math problems incorrectly. And Birdly liked that. Why are you hitting me? Don't worry, it's all part of the strategy. Oh, please do explain more. Alright, play smart. Noelle acted smart. Partake, Chris, of the Zephyr of punishment. Oof. I am not doing too hot. Let's see here. Burley, we're going to play dumb item. And we're going to do another club sandwich. There we go. I don't like using my club sandwiches so soon, but oof. That's okay, because there's going to be a whole lot of butt juice later on. So what? Butler juice! Butler juice! Birdly preens condescendingly. We are going to play smart. You won! So let's see here. I usually just listen to music to help me get into the scene. For example, I listen to one specific music. This may hurt you, Noelle, but it's helping you. For example, I listen to an emotional music to help me write the moment when the female main character had a mental breakdown because she accidentally threatened her own friend by holding a sword because of her trauma. And Rose says, I find it interesting both Birdly and Susie have axe weapons and act as an enemy. Noelle was too smart for Birdly. I'm only tired of holding back my true power! Ah, Noelle. It'd be too simple to save you now. Chris, go ahead and train your strength values. Try hard, and maybe someday you'll be a worthy rival. Sometimes I can't believe how cool I am. He hit me in the face with a tornado. Yeah, sorry, I did that a lot to you. After defeating Birdly, a certain scent hangs in the air. You are filled with the power of chicken nuggets. I love it. I'm filled with the power of chicken nuggets. Alright, let's see here. I should be able to... I know I'm backtracking quite a ways with this one. I should be able, though, now to go and visit Spampton, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I know I am going quite a ways. But we need our lovable spam. Spam, 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 spam. Let's see here. We're gonna jiggle, jiggle. Noelle pulled on the plug. Woo! Alright. Build up some TP to put this guy to sleep. Defend, magic, sleep mist. There we go. Now look at us, we're making all this money. Wait. Alright, we're gonna buy for ourselves some Krusie. And we're gonna get another bit of Noelle tea. Since I used up way too many items in that last fight. Yes, say, I've not yet met Spamton in the story, which is why I'm making my way on back. So I want to see if I can bang on his door a little bit. Doo-doo-doo. Okay. Dang it. Okay. Dang it. There we go. Make it on across. There we go. And make it on across. Rose says, my opinion, Spamton is probably the best antagonist villain Toby Fox has written so far. Oh! Say, tell me a little bit more why you say that. Because, I mean, personally, I really like Jevil just because he's so unhinged. But there is definitely way more backstory to Spamton that makes him a little bit more of a sympathetic character. I am enjoying just how much cash I have on hand. Oh, dang it. Okay. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Hey, I haven't seen you in a little while. I went to the store and they need a signature to use on a credit card. But when I tried to encrypt my signature, by drawing random squiggles, it didn't like that. No. Sorry, man. Next time actually give them your actual signature. A large event is going to happen in the streets later. We were told to make room for something big. Something big indeed. Yeah, I know I'm going pretty far. But again, I want to see... Oh. We are going to click. You unconsciously clicked on a pop-up about demon summoning classes for teens. Hey, again, Chris and Caddy, what have they been doing? Noelle misclicked on a link about to buy How to Draw Dragons. Oh, what did I do wrong? Oh, you have revealed all. That is what you have done. Which shall defends. The things that have been learned. I actually didn't know that if you made Noelle do that you get the How to Draw Dragons bit. So we now know that Chris isn't the only one interested in How to Draw Dragons. Mm-hmm. The door is locked. Chris, why did you bring me here? No one's home. No one's around at all. It's so creepy. At the same time, it's kind of nostalgic. Implications. The power of chicken nuggets compels you? Birdley is a yandere for sure. Oh, he absolutely is. Keep on going. Summoning demons together. You just know good friend stuff. Yeah, like touching brooms. Now, let's see here. I thought it said how to train your dragons. Le bunker. Yes. How to draw dragons and how to train them. Oh my. That's a really spicy book, I'll tell you. Definitely not meant for kids. So, Rose says, two things that make Spamton really shine for me is he manipulates you, the one playing the game, so that helps create a personal grudge. Spamton's backstory also helps inform Chris as a character. Yeah. I was always curious why would Noelle say that? Perhaps manipulates is the wrong word. He certainly uses us and betrays us to get what he wants. Well, that's definitely manipulation. Alright. Hospitality. Needles aren't scary. Exactly. Needles are not scary. I always need to convince myself of that because I hate needles. I didn't used to mind needles, but when I would have to go in for like shots or surgeries or whatnot. But then when I was having my feet reconstructed and I had to get anesthesia, one of the nurses just did such a horrible job with putting the needle into me that she really did some damage to my hand and to my wrist. And then the anesthesiologist eventually came along and without any warning, without cleaning the wrist or anything, just jabbed the needle right on in, and that was painful. Oh, I should have acted. Oh well. We are going to do hospitality. Let's give her some freckles. Yeah. Alright, we shall now spare to defend. You won! We got lots of money for that one, Noelle. We are rolling in dough. Actually, let's see how much money we have right here. Almost 4,000 dark dollars. We are ready. We are ready to buy stuff. This is why we're going through this area. Jiggle, jiggle. Oh, why do you have to throw all these stars at me? Oof. Sorry about that, Noelle. We're going to spare. We're going to defend. Alrighty. Alright, defense. Magic, sleep mist. We put him down gently. The way Mama would like. Wait, what? Alright, come this way. We've learned our lesson. Okay. Hurry, Noelle! Hurry! There we go. Oh man, the cheese. The cheese that was lost. Such a shame. It's a bloomin' crying shame. Now, that little fence really helps to show the height difference between Chris and Noelle. We're filled with the power of chicken nuggets. Yes, I like being filled with the power of chicken nuggets. All right, continuing on. Yay, traffic, just like back in hometown. Noelle, honey, where are you? Oh no, here she comes. Noelle, come home. I made you a battery acid pie. Oh, Chris, perfect timing. Oh, I don't want to have that pie. Have you seen? Oh, my luxurious queen. Oh, my circuits, Chris, get in the car. My queen, where are you? I baked you a gamer's delight. She's not here. Oh, poor Berkeley. That was close. Chris, who is your friend? My face recognition software does not compute them. And yet, something about them seems cool. Robotic even. Chris, you might... I love she passes out. Chris must drive to find Noel. Everyone, get in the car. Chris, press directional buttons to steer. Chris, don't hit the cars. Don't worry, Mother. So much traffic. Isn't it wonderful? Lightners love traffic. They look it up all the time. Poor Noel. She would love hitting all of these cars. Actually, she might not. Stop everything! Chris, get the banana! Potassium. Ah, yes, gotta get yourselves that potassium. Here comes a crossing. Get ready to stop. Oh, my circus! It's a circus! It's a traffic jam! A dog must have wandered in the road again. Chris, be a dear and go press the walk button. It's just over there on the other side of the road. I'll go too. No, you must stay. Until you hear all of my mixtape. Okay. Chris, hurry up, please. Next up is my CD of vintage hot disc noises. Chris, please hurry. I love Queen. Yes, I love Queen too, Hannah. Yeah, Noelle used to be smaller than Chris, but now she's taller than Chris in their older years. And it says, I'm very sorry that happened to you, Mr. Lars. That nurse must have played the game Needle Rune for a few minutes before your assigned appointment with them. Yes. Here we are, Spampton. Hey, it's me. Everybody's favorite #1 rated salesman, 1997. Spampton G. Spampton. Whoa, if it isn't a Lightner. Hey, looks like you're all alone on a late night. All your friends abandoned you for the slime. You are. Sales gone down the drain. I got him garbage can. Well, I've got a special deal for your lonely hearts like you. You lost control of your life. Then you just gotta grab it by the silly strings. Why, be the little sponge who hates its $4.99 life when you can be a big shot. Big shot. Big shot! That's right. Now's your chance to be a big shot. And I have just the thing you need. That's hyperlink blocked. You want it. You want hyperlink blocked, don't you? Well, I've got a deal for you. All you have to do is show me your heart-shaped object. You're a Lightner, aren't you? You've got the light. Why don't you show it off? Do you want to be a big shot? Let's make a deal. Hey, I've never seen a heart-shaped object like that before. My eyes are burning like DVDs of any movie at half price. I have a very special deal for you, kid. Tell me more. That's the attitude, you little slime. Deals like this come only once in your ant-sized rapidly shrinking life. Enlarge yourself. Bargains. Sales. $4.99. Deals. There's nothing wrong with having a nice splurge every once in a while. Actually, it is kind of for me. I always have to watch my cash because I go through it way too fast if I'm not careful. I used to be a big shot, the biggest, but now I need a little generosity. Give money. Yum yum, delicious Cromer. Did you have any more? You felt your Cromer being absorbed. Wrong choice. Get big and win wild prizes. Sales. All right. Let's make a deal, shall we? Yum yum, I need a little more generosity. Don't give. That's right, and I don't mean money. I'm a salesman. I was never in it for the money. Get big and win wild prizes. If you weren't in for the money, you're a bad salesman. This would explain a lot about you, Spampton. Deal. I was only ever in it for freedom. To make your deals, to call your own shots. And sometimes in the morning, a little hyperlink blocked. Sounds good, doesn't it, kid? Don't you want to be just like your old pal Spanton? Take the deal. Now that's what I'm talking about. You got goods, kid. That's discomfort and abdominal pain in my guts. Press F1 for help. Hey man, you're eating up all my monies. Act. Deal. Don't worry, kid. I'll give you deal insurance. Only for a low price of 1,000 kromer. An awesome price. An absolutely terrifying price. Price is so low, everyone I know is dead. What? You don't have enough wacky stacks? Kid, you're killing me. Please stop killing me. I will give you another deal. Transmit Cromer. Now, I don't know about transferring all that Cromer, buddy, but let's make a deal. Don't worry, kid. I'm an honest man. I just need your account details and the number on the back. Then you can enjoy 1,000 free Cromer. Wait, you don't need it? That's a real big shot move, kid. You're like me. Desperate. But we know what we want, don't we? Wild prizes, hot singles, 100 customers, most of all. Hyperlink blocks. Meaning a purple dragon? Will you take the final deal? Remember, this is up to you. I won't force you. Deal. Then a deal's a deal. Pleasure doing business with you, kid. You won. And lost some dark dollars. Now, on to the next step. I'll be waiting at my homemade storefront site. In the trash area closed for repairs. Come alone. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more Hyperlinks Blocked. Oh, what a deal. There's a dumpster. Looks like there's a pillow inside. The poster is torn, revealing a faded one underneath. Big Shot Autos. Take a ride around town in our special. The rest is cut off. Queen Clean, made 100% made of 100% acid. There we go. Clean up that traffic. Chris is freaked out by this guy. Personal space. Man, he's scaring Chris. Yes, he is. Notice how they backed up a moment ago? He can't say he wasn't in for the money because money is what he needed for his freedom. Exactly. All right, Queen, so what do you got to tell me now? Chris, we have to drive to find Noelle. Turn on the high beams. She shall see the Queen's signal and will come running. Why do you need to find Noelle so badly? What are you saying? The city is dangerous. Imagine poor Noelle clipping into a wall somewhere, wasting away from potassium deficiency. You're actually worried about her? I would be if I wasn't going to find her. But why her? Wait, let me guess. Is it because she's weak enough to make into your peon? No, just the opposite. It's because she's strong. What do you... Chris, stop the car. What's wrong with it? Phew, I was just concerned because it hadn't exploded yet. Looks like we'll have to split up on foot. Chris, if you see Noelle, tell her my knowledge of her preferences is absolute, and if she needs proof, use this. Queen's mixtape was thrown into your key items. Toodles! All right, let's check out this mixtape. Phew. Somehow, I feel like we're almost out of here. Let's go, Chris. Oh, man, we're blocked off. Item. We're going to go to... Let's call... Hey, thanks for the tape. I was hungry. Push my tummy to hear a cool song. All right. So now we know what happened to the mixtape. Lancer ate it. Gosh, that was close, wasn't it, Chris? This strange world, this big city. It's so wild, it kind of makes my head spin. Looks like another puzzle. Maybe if I go down here? You could have done this whole time? Now we get to the sad part. E. Yes. This is a good exposition scene, if we're going to be all honest. When I said the city makes my head spin, I didn't mean it in a bad way, you know? I always wanted to go someplace new, you know? And Des, she always told me she'd take me. Somewhere like this. Somewhere with shining lights. Don't you miss exploring, Chris? Back when the four of us were kids. Gosh, remember that night we explored the forest behind the graveyard? Oh, how could I forget? Maybe we never found anything interesting back there. I most remember crying because I was scared. E. And there's the little Noelle. But for some reason I feel nostalgic thinking about it. Just wiping away my tears with Azzy's jacket, with warm sleeves that smelled like cinnamon. And there's the cinnamon taste from when she was drinking the Chris tea. I guess it didn't mind being scared if it meant someone would comfort me. R. Sigh. Chris is the only one who knows how weird I am. It's not fair, you know? Everyone knows how weird you are. I like how Chris just immediately turns at that. He's like, really? Or they're like, really? Really? Come on. So, real quick right there. This begins to imply some interesting things. This could mean that Chris's soul, potentially the player or Gaster or whoever, has been messing around with Chris since very long ago. That Chris has been in prison now for quite some time. This is obviously before December vanished. So that means, so if you want, so here's a theory. Here's a theory. They went back, so she said that the four of them went to go and explore the woods behind the graveyard, which we know is where the bunker is. She doesn't fully remember what all happened. What I think, this is my guess, that what happened to Chris with their soul happened that night. And then when Des vanished, I think that Des and Azrael and maybe even Chris went back without Noelle to try to get Chris's soul back. And it didn't work. And Des vanished. Chris and Azrael are the only ones who know what's happened. This is when Asgore went looking for Des, couldn't find Des, which then led to the splintering between the friendship between the Dreamer and Holiday households. That is my guess for what's happened. What's a synonym for cinnamon? Very nicely done. Right there, Mimic. A synonym for synonym. Synonym for cinnamon. Bye. Deals. It's a ball throwing game. Prizes are seated under the counter. Oh no, she's coming back this way. I will hide in the stall. Yes, put on that. Hey, check this out. Sweet, right? Where's my prize? Oh, here. Haha, nice. Wait, I actually don't want this. Here you go, Chris. Ah, here we go. Ah, how was that? Susie, you're not supposed to attack people with it. Oh yeah? Watch me. Chris! There you are. Chris, check out my new attack. Oh, I feel so much better. You felt slightly healed. Yeah, how's that? Meet the new healing master, Chris. Oh yes, she's a real master at it, Chris. Teaching you sarcasm was a mistake. Oh, Chris, what's that you've got there? Is that a gift for someone? We are going to give it to Susie, because this is the Krusie run. What? All right, where did you get this? Perhaps they'd won it at that orc tossing game. Yeah, like Chris would ever win that. They must have stole it or something. Stole it? Wow, they must have really wanted to give it to you. Well, takes guts to do something stupid like that. Don't think I'm gonna let you outdo me. If you're gonna pull some stupid stunt like that, then I'll steal you something too. Cool box. Ah! Noelle! What the hell are you doing in there? That's cheating. I'm glad you're okay, though. Since that stupid queen took you, I was kind of worried. Thump, 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 thump. Oh, wait. Aren't you on their side? Huh? Wait. Chris, help me. She is our enemy. Chris, what the heck are you saying? We have a truce. Huh? I'm afraid Queen is going to find me. I thought you guys might be able to protect me. Protect you? Sorry, if I'm getting in the way, I can... Hey, look, you can tag along in the back or something. Just don't get in the way or anything, okay? Oh, of course! Chris also said I should be behind Susie. Well, if Chris said so... Let's go right. As she's blushing and staring down at Susie's cheeks. Oh boy. Okay, so real quick right here. When you take all of this stuff and when you take in everything that's happened in these past couple of scenes, this is again one of the reasons why I personally am not a huge fan of the Suzel ship. My reasoning for that is because Noelle puts a certain label onto the people that she attaches to, or to what she wants people to be. Chris, throughout this entire thing, has been like, as we play, unless you're being a real jerk to Noelle, is trying to basically help out Noelle, and Noelle continues to put down Chris at many opportunities because Chris is just the weird neighbor who's no longer her friend. That's Chris's label. It's really kind of sad to see that. And that means that, and that doesn't really change by the end of chapter 2. Noelle and Chris's relationship is very much up in the air by the end of this chapter, no matter which route you take. Noelle's attachment to Susie. She has a genuine crush on Susie. But she wants Susie to basically take the spot that Des once held. The big, strong person who's going to make her feel better. And Noelle's not feeling really good in her life right now with a lot of the stuff that's happening. So as a result of that, she wants Susie to be not just her crush, but also be the person who will come and save her. And while that's not necessarily in and of itself a bad thing, the way that Noelle projects that is a little bit questionable. There, watch this. Look, Chris, another teacup ride. Because there's only 3 seats, maybe 2 of us could share one? Man, guys, we gotta take the stairs. I love Susie. It's like, yeah, no, not doing that. Do, 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 do. Climbing, climbing, climbing. We're getting close. It appears to be some kind of force field. Wait, I know. To turn off that force field, like, you just standing on the switch. Yeah. Well, see you later. Wait! What did I volunteer for? You volunteered to be used as a paperweight. And climbing on down. And allow we can take this. There doesn't seem to be a reason to ride this. But I wanted to ride it, dang it. Oh well, we've left Noelle up there long enough. I just want my teacup ride, man. The treasure of air. Where 3 are 1, place 1 to 3. Perhaps it means we all have to enter 1 teacup? Well, I don't like doing it, but it works. Hey Chris, let me show you my ultimate healing. Alright, we will do that. So, in order to do that, we're going to have to, because Susie uses up so much TP, ambulance is making siren noises. We're going to defend. Now we can't yet do the ultimate heal, so another defense, and another defense. Alright. We're going to act. We're going to get ourselves hit. And we're going to do the ultimate heal on Chris. We'll use your service, friends. But also encourage you to get hit by the ambulances. Susie did ultimate heal. That's the worst healing I've seen. Ambulance is making siren noises. Alright. And we're going to try spraying ambulance. Hello, like doctors even get me. Susie told you to avoid getting hit by the ambulances. Nope. Alrighty. Then, let's see here. We're going to do another avoid. And we'll defend a little bit. Alrighty. And time for the sparing. And we'll spare you. And we'll defend and make money. Woohoo! Oh no, the video's buffing? Oh, I just saw that. Oh no. Alrighty. Now we clicked. Wait for me! Come on, Noelle. Alright. Let's see here. I wanted that treasure, dang it. And no, you just had to go and mess it all on up. You all jumped into 1 teacup. You heard a clicking sound. I would love to have seen us all jump into 1 teacup. I can only imagine the hilarity. The tangle of limbs. Sardines. Which I think everyone at some point in their life needs to play sardines. Just to experience the embarrassment. Ah, the true treasure of the air. Alright. Shall continue on. Look at us. Hey, no, Noelle, you're supposed to be watching the fireworks show. Noelle. Alright, who's coming for me? Yeah. Oof. I forgot about this part. Cheese. Yes, cheese. Mouse. We are going to upgrade. There's only one solution for a mouse. Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. You know, we just have to fight the cat now. Yeah. Meow, meow. Meow, meow. Alright, let's see here. We are going to roar, and we are going to do a healing prayer on Chris. Susie roared, the enemies became tired. Who's king of the jungle now? Meow. Meow. Oof. I went right into that one. Let's see here. We shall, on the mouse, pacify, task. Susie got on all fours and chased the mouse around for the room like an animal. Catch me. Alright. Let's see here. Mouse. You know what? We are going to defend. Defend, and another little pacify. Mouse's clicking sounds more like splat noises. And we will again defend, and pacify. Which leads to a lot of money. Wait a sec, where's Noelle? Sorry, I just never seen fireworks up close before. Those bullets? What, you scared? I guess so. Maybe that's why I couldn't stop watching. The cheese was destroyed in the heat of battle. Why do I keep losing my cheese? Behold, the power of cheese. Art says, I like how Chris and Susie watch it, but Ralsei just watches Noelle blush. Exactly. Mick says, Noelle is independent, upholds people to unrealistic standards. Chris is a silent, submissive man, keeps his mouth shut, who doesn't get to voice his opinions. He's perfect for someone like Susie. Oof! Catch. You put the mice in the hole. And then you put the lime in the coconut. You don't have enough mice to fill up the hole. Alright. There we go. You put the mice in the hole. Oh, 20 more? We're gonna be here forever. Maybe if we split up the work. Huh? I'll release the mice. Susie will break the balloons when they reach the top. She's not mentioning Ralsei, who's right there. And Chris, you can catch them, if that's okay. Ready? Go! Yeah. I'm an expert mouse catcher. Or mouser. Yeah. Give me the mice. I'm ready for the mice. I once had a really bad run where I just kept missing the mice. It got really silly. Yeah! Take that, you stupid mice. It's nice seeing you enjoy a puzzle, Susie. Well, maybe they aren't awful if you do them like that. Not bad, Noelle. That was kind of smart. Huh? Thanks. Hey, maybe next time I'll let you do my homework. Can I? Oh, Noelle. It's full of mice. You put the mice in the hole. Yeah, and there, you little mice. There we go. Yep. Gotta get one more darn mouse. I think we're done with the mice for now. What are you talking about there? Have you not seen the gaping hole? You put the bucket in the hole. Okay. Well, that'll work out. Ooh, I like that. Look, we're finally close to the fountain. It's Queen's Mansion. Wait, why did we come here? Whoa! Chris, you brought Noelle right to me. I knew our truce was the best. But unfortunately, that means truces are over. Noelle, get over here. But Noelle, I will only say it one time. Infinitely. Get over here, get over here, get over here, get over here, get over here. Noelle, are you hesitating? Let me if then this for you. How about if you don't listen, then a certain bird might take a ride in the acid river. Birdly? Thoroughly cowed. I'm sorry, Chris. Susie, I wish I could have stayed with you longer, but I can't let Birdly get hurt, you know? Don't be sad, Noelle, honey. All that remains is the final step. My splendorous queen, there you are. Phew. I looked in every used game store for you. Oh, Noelle, are you okay? You look a little funny. Okay, plan B. Capture. What are you doing? I see now. Her will must be unleashed by force. Perhaps if I make her face into a robot one. But you said you wouldn't do that if I... Variable lying set to true. We were going to be smart together. That's not fair. Understood. Fairness activated. Hey! Good thing I calibrated these cages. You said I could trust you. You said you were a gamer. Birdly, I only play mobile games. No! One of us is going to help me with my plan, and it's going to be Noelle. The rest of you, go to your rooms. Oh, poor Ralsei. Just left out there in the cold. What are you going to do with me? Oh, damn. You're still here. I only made 4 cages. I literally don't know. Yep, there we are. How do you like your new room units? As you can see, they are perfectly suited to your interests, which I glean from your internet search results. I estimate you will have no desire to leave. Please tantalize yourself with your surroundings and wait patiently while I dominate the world. Toodles! Chris, hey, can you hear me? Looks like we're in some way to communicate between rooms. Convenient, isn't it? I really thought of everything. Shut up! Anyway, let's think of some way to get out of here. Ralsei, you got any bright ideas? Hey, where the hell's Ralsei? Man, that soft yet tender screaming. Chris, that's gotta be him. Quick, we gotta think of some way to get out. Anything you smuggled in that might help us? Lancer. We're gonna use the Lancer. Missed me? Because I missed you? Okay, real quick right here. So, things that we see. We see Toriel playing the piano. We see a calendar. So, Chris looking up the times when Azrael should come. We see a lot of sword stuff. So, Chris does like themselves some swords. And then we also have how to draw dragons. I would love to. I simply is relaxing in Chris's spacious pants hole. Pocket. Yes, and I saw it all. Pants lent various items. A wild mom put you in some shark cages. Yeah, we're trapped. So, also the VHS. That VHS is going to be important for Chapter 3. Hey, so wait, what did you see on the roller coaster? Yeah, she says the roller coaster. Yes, it was amazing. My first coaster ride. I love getting nauseous with friends. Hey, you should probably free us. Oh, right, yes. You can always rely on friendly me to make you free. Haha, I have no idea how to use this. Request new item for room. That sounds good. Item requested, shovel. Quantity, let's say 999. Quantity open. Oh, it worked! Let's go, blue person whose name I know. It's a jelly thing in the shape of various knives. From search query, sharpest kitchen knife jello. It's Jongler's book for jongling other tricks. Okay, so I got it wrong. It's Jongler's juggling book. From search query, how to use magic. Because caddy? It's a calendar with college vacation circled. From search query, summer vacation, college when. It's a dozens and dozens of bath bombs. From search query, do yourself bath bomb. It's a VHS explaining how to install video game piano. From search query, video game piano tutorial. It's 2 pixelized tutorials playing the piano. From search query, video game piano tutorial. Tutorial! Ha ha ha! Use a communication device? Yes. You put your hole inside and honks. Chris, what the hell are you doing? Huh? Trying to fit your head inside? Yeah, me too. Hey! We don't have time for this. Oh, but we do, Susie. We do. Let's see here. You consider dropping bath bombs inside, but there's no time. All right, VHS side. That makes me go back. Hey, I recently came across some of my old VHSs. And time to go down memory lane. Hey, man. Lancer, you're the best, dude. Come on, Noelle. Come on, Noelle and Ralsei are waiting. Yes, let's put on the metal. Hey, Lancer, you okay, dude? I'm fine. I'm just very cold. No! Hey, what the hell? Hey, are you okay, dude? Here, let me heal you. Healing spell. Thanks, Susie, but... Darn, it's not strong enough. Quick, Chris, let's find Ralsei. Maybe he can heal him. Wait. You aren't going to leave without me, are you? Yeah, we are. But Noelle, my damsel in distress, she must be in distress. If I can't help her, then... Okay, fine, you can come if you shut up. You have escaped from your second personalized room for the day. You are filled with the power of vacation homes. Alright. And now, even after DVDs and CDs are starting to become a thing of the past, I know, it's kind of sad. Keep your physical media. Looks like a puzzle. Think you can do it, Chris? Calm your skinless bones. Thighs, everyone. I'll think of a solution. Chris, just ignore him. I'll try to be over here where I can't hear you. And I'll be here away from your IQ debuffing aura. Truly. There we go. Alright. And let's rotate this. There we go. Got that. And there we go. Yeah, we got it. What? Hey, wait a second. How'd you solve it without me? Chris figured it out before you. Jealous? Well, I knew the answer. I just wanted to see Chris try it first. It's called suspense, Susan. dramatic suspense. Then you do the next one. Fine, watch me. Also, my name's not Susan. Oh, Susie. Ha, child's play. Couldn't you give me a harder one? For example, if anyone had a 4x4 puzzle cube. Just tell us the solution. Well, you see. First you align the shadows with the lines on the floor. Alright, what do we move first? Chris, just do the puzzle. Just give me a moment. It's not like Chris could even solve it anyway. What a bird brain, right, Lancer? Oh yeah, all of his body parts are bird ones. Lancer, tell Chris our sick scheme. So, when we make track jackets, I'm making his a different color. Oh god. Alright, we had our laughs. Forget Chris. Lancer's getting weak. I'm as brittle as a biscuit. Chris, leave the controls alone. If you got sweat on controls, it's going to eat up my inputs. So just let me solve this. Well, you're not moving, so sounds like it is up to me to be the one. Let's see here. What do we want for you? Nope. That's what we like. And we are going to rotate you like so. And then you... I did indeed do this one wrong. So, put that right there, and then... Boom. Boom, shaka-laka-laka. There we go, the Triforce is complete! Whoops, it looks like Chris got it again. Huh? What? Wait just a sec. Can't have. You just got lucky. It's just trial and error. A brute force method. Ha! Cavemen could do it. They said cavemen died out because they're stupid. I'm solving the next one, so just stay here until I'm done. Yeah, like we're gonna wait that long. Susie's having a good time with this one. What are you two doing here? This one's mine. It'll be over in a second. So why don't you just relax in your mind palace, which probably doesn't have anything in it. I just need to figure out why the shapes don't go together. Oh, hey, you just gotta fill the whole square, right? What if you just piled them all in the corners? Like digging a really wide hole. What? Chris, want to try? Come on, Chris. Just cover a whole square thing. Quiet, no hints. This is bird to human. That means no Susies and no... who is that guy? I'm Lancer. Hold my tongue and I'll say several phrases, such as ow, ouch, ah. I don't need to know that. Oh, Lancer, you are an absolute gem. Alright. You know what, let's rotate you precisely. In 18 years, most precisely, the planets shall align ever so nicely. Verse. And now we put the blue jay in there. I like how this puzzle is what's going to prompt Burley to go. It's a computer bug. It's a glitch. You're cheating, just like when you wave dash. How's it taste, idiot? Man, I'm going to relish this forever. All those times I acted so high and mighty. Well, guess what? You're not. Face it, you're just a big dumbass, like the rest of us. So many emotional moments back to back. Fine. I admit it. I am not that smart. I never was. There, are you happy? I used to be a forgettable little bluebird. No one even remembered my name. Prodigy. Then one day came the spelling bee Noelle and I studied for. When it came down to the two of us, she got nervous and couldn't speak. December. Oh, that's rough, because it's her sister's name. She lost. And I won! That was when I tasted it. The praise, the glory, the superiority, the addictive power of being smart. Since then, year after year, I've been number one in the class. But it's only because Noelle helps me study. She's the real smart kid. But everyone's expectations for me are so high now. What am I going to do once I go somewhere without her? That's why I wanted to make a new world for us. A new world where we'll always be number 1 and 2. Oh boy. But I was so wrapped up in that, I got tricked by Queen. And now, Noelle is going to suffer because of it. Maybe I did just like being superior. Maybe I am just an idiot. Don't cry, chicken nugget man. All of us are idiots too. Huh? I mean, like, I don't know about everyone else, but whether you're the smart kid or not, we couldn't care less. Screw up as much as you want, honestly. It's not like our opinion of you. Susie, you accept me even if I'm dumb? Yeah. Okay, if Susie's more suited, let's see here. Susie's more suited for, would that mean that Noelle is more suited for Ralsei? A Noelle x Ralsei ship could even work? No, probably not. I think that for right now, Mibik, I think Noelle is very much set on Susie. And we're going to see how that breaks her little heart. It's like when your sister gets cursed in Dragon Blazers 2. Even if her stats suck, she's still your party member. Susie, a real Dragon Blazers 2 reference? Susie, you're not only kind, but a true gamer as well. Perhaps I underestimate you. Don't say that now, and with that face. But worry not, I have decided. I will turn over a new leaf from now on, and fight for the side of ignorance. We're not telling you to be stupid. Just sometimes it's okay to make mistakes. And make mistakes I will. Onward! Why couldn't Ralsei be here to teach the moral lesson? This downstairs table will be for our special guests. There's a dinner party on the second floor for everyone else. Everything here is tailored for you, right? Now, I don't know about that. That's screaming, Ralsei! You don't have to scream. Just because you like my outfit. Oh, Chris, Susie, how may I serve you? How are you doing? Queen didn't have a room for me, so, she made me into one of her butlers instead. Whatever, Ralsei, can you heal Lancer? Oh, it's just cold. Susie, I'm afraid this is something I can't heal. What? Lancer is turning to stone. Lancer, hey! You see, each dark fountain creates a different world. A world whose darkness reflects the will of its fountain. But though those darkness can exist in their own worlds, they might not belong if they go to another one. So, can we help him? Yes, there is a way. Castletown's grand fountain is made of pure darkness. As long as it stays flowing, any darkener can live there. So if we bring Lancer back to school, he'll be okay again. So we just need to get out of here, huh? Right. All right. Lancer, we'll be back for you, buddy. Your friend, if we defeat Queen, we can save him? Yeah. With me out of the way, Queen is going to force Noelle to do her bidding. And if Noelle doesn't want to, she might make her face into a robot one. Susie, could you assist me in saving Noelle? Huh, me? I just can't do it by myself. But if you can help me, I have a plan. A plan? I remember from Queen's tour of this place. There's a secret shortcut on the 3rd floor. While Chris is distracting Queen, Susie will take the shortcut to reach Noelle and transfer me to the roof. From there, we'll bring her to a safe hiding spot. And together, we can all defeat Queen. All right, sure, we'll give it a shot. Most excellent, then. See you on the roof, my fellow agent. All right, let's get going. Oh, but first... Would you take that off already? Sorry. Yeah. But first... we are going to move Lancer. We're going to give him a nice spot to stay for a little while. Then we'll go back to Susie's room, check it out a little bit, and then we'll call it nice. There we go. Man, he's got a good meal. Seems to be well taken care of. Alright. Hacker? This puzzle. I think I got it on the download. I just need to data mine the answer from the consoles. The answer's in the code. All he's managed to do is get a child's toy to play a beat version of nursery rhyme music. Alright, you have escaped from your second personalized room for the day. You are filled with the power of vacation homes. Alrighty. Oof. All of those. Seems like the room is overflowing with shovels, and you don't have anything to dig through them with. It's a painted egg. It's warm. From search query, can hard-boiled eggs hatch? It's a vacuum-powered book. From search inquiry, losers, this library sucks. It's a copy of an online skateboarding game. From search query, cool skateboard game online. Seems to be a somewhat glitched out hologram. From search query, the AI is cheating. It's impossible to win. Hey, Chris, if you blast the flames down this horn thing, and here it is. You think it would torch the other side? Why are you using that face now? One of 3 times that we see that expression. The shoulder tap, this, and then when Birdley is hallucinating. Yep, boom. The nameplate reads Birdley. Peek inside. Nah. You respected the gamer's code. No screen peeking. Did you enjoy your room? There was a mint under your electric cage. This mansion used to be a luxurious home for upper-class citizens. Your room belonged to prestigious big shots. Oh ho ho, do tell more. The nameplate reads Azrael's room. Peek inside. Yes. Chris, whose room is this? Huh? Your brother? Ah, man, you better hope I never meet him. Oh boy. What that will all entail. Alright. Let me just go back on over here. We'll save this. Yet again. Because I feel like it. Even though I don't really need to. I'm doing it again. And, yeah. So, that brings us back on over here. Whoop. Okay, guys. So, there we go. Yeah, that outfit did look good. Does this imply Susie has a sister? Maybe. Maybe Susie does have a sibling we don't yet know about. There's so much that we don't yet know about Susie. Can you actually go in the room, or you can't? You can't go into any of the other rooms. The only other room that you're able to visit is Susie's to get those insights into Susie. All right, it says I got to go. I'll put my Murder Drones newsy essay in the comments tomorrow. Oh, I'm so looking forward to it. But all right, so that will do it then that's going to do it for tonight. So With all that being said, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this Krusie playthrough, as well as the lesson on enemies to lovers. Make sure that you are using the trope responsibly, because you don't want to have your story called toxic when it's something that you could easily have avoided. And if you came in a little bit late, then you can always go on back and you can check out the whole thing. It is fun. But everyone, we will see you again soon in another video. And yeah, so hope you all have a fantastic night. I'm going to go. I'm going to rest my voice because I didn't realize I've been talking for so long. Take a good drink of water. Then I'm going to get very, very late dinner. So thank you everyone for being here. Thank you again so much for always for all of your comments, for your respect towards for your respect towards each other in the chat. All your contributions, you guys are great. Mick says, thank you so much for this awesome stream, Mr. Lars. Glad I was able to tune in on time. This was fun. You have a great night. Thank you so much, Mimic. Hannah, you have a good night. Bye. I'm Omega. Juice and jam, Lars. Yes, it will be juice time. So everyone, thank you again so much for being here. And until the next video, y'all,